Nepalese 12 killed in targeted mass shooting at Bondi Beach, Australia. Authorities label attack as anti-Semitic terrorism. CPL-UML votes to keep 301-member Central Committee structure at 11th National Convention, overruling senior leaders' objections. Nepal marks Parliament Service Day for the first time in 24 years without a functioning parliament or elected government. Gold price continues to surge in Nepal, rise by 2,200 rupees per tola in domestic market. Thailand imposes curfew as fighting with Cambodia escalates despite ceasefire play from the United States. And Chandra Bahadur Thapa makes history with bronze at IBA Men's World Boxing Championship 2025, given a hero's welcome on his return at the airport. Hello there, I'm Shivani Thapa Bosnath and this is NTV World Primetime News, coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepali time. Across the globe, it's 1:15 p.m. in London, 10:15 p.m. in Tokyo, and just after midnight in Sydney. Now we look into the details. In the top news of the day, at least 12 people have been killed in a mass shooting at Bondi Beach in Australia in what authorities describe as a targeted attack on the Jewish community. New South Wales police say the shooting occurred during a public event marking the start of Hanukkah, attended by more than 1,000 people. 29 others, including a child, have been taken to hospital. Police have deployed a bomb disposal unit after discovering a vehicle believed to contain multiple improvised explosive devices, particularly for the posts of Vice Chair, Deputy General Secretary and Secretary. Under the new structure, the party will elect 1 chair, 5 vice chairs, 1 general secretary, 3 deputy general secretaries and 9 secretaries. While formal nominations are yet to be filed, a contest for the chair is expected between incumbent chairman KP Sharma Oli and senior vice chair Ishwar Pokhrel. The party says it will make last-minute efforts to reach consensus, though current indications suggest a competitive race. We take a short break here. More news coming up after this short break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. Here with the primetime news here on NTV World. For the first time in 24 years, Nepal is observing Parliament Service Day without a functioning parliament or an elected government. The day highlights the resilience of parliamentary institutions at a time when democracy itself faces an institutional void. Subeksha Rajak brings you more.
For the first time in 24 years, Nepal is celebrating Parliament Service Day without an elected parliament or government. Since 2001, parliamentary service was recognized as a distinct entity from civil service, and coincidentally, this is the first time the country does not have an elected parliament in these 24 years. Employees of Federal Parliament under the Ministry of Federal Affairs and General Administration marked this day, calling it a specialized, autonomous and professional institution dedicated to strengthening the dignity and effectiveness of parliamentary practice. Unlike the civil service, the parliamentary service operates under its own act, providing a framework tailored to the unique demands of legislative work. Coincidentally, the country is not only without elected federal parliament, but also without proper parliament building. The Bhubaneswar-based federal parliament Parliament building after being destroyed during the September 8 Gen Z movement will take years to be renovated. The new federal parliament building inside administrative headquarters Singapore has been under construction for a decade now. And unlike to be able to the House of the elected representatives if the country holds elections on March 5. Though the upper house, the National Assembly, is still alive, its meeting is yet to convene as there is no place for meeting. It has been learned that the parliament building used during Panchayat era is being prepared for the sitting of the upper house. Government is yet to recommend the president to summon the meeting of the National Assembly through the upper house chair is learned to have requested for the meeting. This day also reminds us of the turbulent years when the Gen Z revolution shook the foundations of our political system. In those times of upheaval, parliamentary buildings were damaged, symbols of democracy stood scared, and the very infrastructure of governance seemed fragile. 24 years have passed since the establishment of the parliamentary service through a dedicated act. Since then, it has been celebrated as a symbol of professionalism and autonomy. Though small, the service is not only an administrative body, it is the guardian of parliamentary continuity, a stabilizing force in times when political transitions leave gaps in governance. As citizens, we are reminded that democracy is not only about elections, it is also about institutions that uphold the Constitution, safeguard the legislative process, and ensure that the voice of the people is represented. The Federal Parliament Service embodies this principle, standing firm in its mission to support the Parliament regardless of political circumstances.
Speaker of the House Devraj Ghimire has accused the government of indirect interference in the federal parliament. Addressing a program marking the 19th anniversary of the parliament's secretariat today, the speaker also expressed dissatisfaction over reduction in benefits, facilities and sanctioned posts for parliamentary employees. Speaking at the same event, National Assembly Chair Narayan Prasad Dahal stressed the need for serious commitment from all sides to end corruption, saying the government formed after the Gen Z movement has yet to deliver concrete results in curbing corruption. Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs Minister Anil Kumar Sinha said the government remains committed to strengthening Parliament, describing the legislature and executive as complementary institutions. Meanwhile, Deputy Speaker Indinarana Magar and National Assembly Vice Chair Bimala Ghimire highlighted the need for lawmaking that respects history, warning that legislative work has stalled following the dissolution of the House. The event also honored winners of various competitions and outstanding Parliament service employees. As Nepal marks Parliament Service Day without a functioning Parliament, questions about institutional health and reform have come into sharp focus. We speak now with a former MP who has consistently advocated institutional reform to understand what needs to change. Joining us live here on Primetime News is former MP Sumana Shrestha. Ms. Shrestha, welcome to NTV Primetime News.
Many thanks, Shivanaji.
Right.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste to you too. We are marking Parliament Service Day in the absence of a functioning Parliament or an elected government at the moment. So even before we move to the very core question, Ms. Shrestha, what does this moment say about the health of Nepal's parliamentary democracy?
Well, first of all, I'd like to wish everybody who is in parliamentary services sector, thank you for all the services that you've provided, and thank you for the dedication towards supporting the parliamentarians come up with the bills and draft the bills and deliberate on the bills. However, there are a lot of reforms that are required, and the parliamentary processes would also play a very significant role in promoting good governance. And the institution that we have, the lower house and the upper house, they need quite a bit of systematic reform to build it as a strong institution.
Mm-hmm. You have repeatedly raised issues about parliamentary infrastructure and procedures from inside the House when you were serving as an MP, right? From your direct experience, Ms. Shrestha, what are the most serious institutional shortcomings that prevent Parliament from functioning effectively here in Nepal?
I would say there are 3 to 4 key reforms that we need to make in the way we practice parliamentary democracy in the country. The first one is citizens' awareness and awareness within the parliamentarians as what is the role of parliament versus what is the role of executive, what is the role of province, and what is the role of local level. Oftentimes during election process, everybody promises the same thing, which then raises the expectations amongst people that every tier of government does the same job, right? That creates very undue influence or pressure on the parliamentarians to go around asking for budget. That's the first level of the first fundamental thing is awareness that I think will then impact the procedures. The second is lack of clear direction in which the government is going to go forward or the key issues that the parliament needs to fix, which then reflects in the need and a clear layout of parliamentary calendar, for instance, that would basically set tone for the direction the 5 years the parliament is going to take. And most importantly, the third point is the budget for parliament is also determined by the executive, which is how the parliamentary process is not truly independent of executive that is supposed to guide and put check and balance. For example, when you think about the research support that parliamentarians are offered to draft their own bills or to get the institutional knowledge behind certain problem statement that the bills are trying to address, that is very lacking. Though the current parliament does have a research wing, it is not as effective. There have been oftentimes I've reached out for support, and that has been very lacking. Second is when you talk about parliamentary committees, the budget for the committee I was part of, the education parliamentary committee that oversaw 4 ministries, the budget for the year round was around just 1,81,000, some absurd tiny number that would prevent parliamentarians from having broader consultation with the experts, with the stakeholders, that would then ensure that their concerns are incorporated and we're actually solving the right problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've heard you oftentimes raising voices on the, voids created by research support or the additional infrastructure and resources, right? But are there any other procedural rules themselves which obstruct meaningful lawmaking and oversight? Would you share a perspective of an MP?
Well, from infrastructure perspective, there are still a lot of shortcomings, though the full house proceedings are broadcast live. We are missing similar infrastructure for the parliamentary committees, and we get bits and pieces from the media, but that is not sufficient to ensure the parliamentarians are also held accountable to their election time promises and to making sure there is enough transparency in which to the public on how the bills are actually being drafted and who is taking what stance and for what reason. So there are technological, I would not say these are big issues, but because it's very easy to go live even from parliamentary committees, but that is not the case right now. And then second is it's very difficult to get the institutional memory. For example, we worked very hard to get the education bill to its final stage, but now it's gone back to zero, right? So if there was when the elections happen and the House and the people get its new set of parliamentarians, they again will have to start from scratch. And the problems that people are facing, stakeholders are facing, they'll have to be repeated over and over again. This institutionalization of the knowledge of the problems and potential solutions that the current parliamentary lot or the past parliamentarians thought of, they kind of vanish. And that is the biggest problem in not having very strong research and documentation team. So these are, I would say, technical issues.
Right. Since we're standing at a very, very critical juncture, even in the context of, national politics and governance, and since we all are looking forward from this point of time, and you being an MP who've been there, done it, and seen it all, if reform were to begin tomorrow, where do you think it should start? The Parliament Secretariat, the parliamentary rules of procedures? or political party conduct, or even leadership accountability? Where should the change begin or reform begin?
Well, the first reform needs to be around the very notion of resourcing. So Parliament should be able to decide its own resources as opposed to executive branch deciding on its resources. This is especially true of parliamentary committees like Lekha Public Accountability or Artha Samiti, the finance committees, committees that would really look into the corruption cases and basically give a direction to either the Akhtiyar Durupayog Ansandhan Ayog, CIA, or other branches of our states. So first would be resourcing. Second would be to make sure there is a clear layout of the nation's priorities that will then guide the entire parliament and thereby the entire nation on what are the upcoming bills and what is supposed to be the impact. This is something that I think we passed a bill that should incorporate it, but oftentimes we don't know the cost of the bills that we're passing. For example, once the bill gets enacted in an act when the parliament passes, it's very difficult to gauge the actual financial implications. So the financial trajectory, the financial projection, the size of impact analysis is really, those would be the areas of reform where we need a lot of technical support to ensure it's more effective.
Right, and as we move towards the very end of this conversation, Ms. Shrestha, as we're marking Parliament Service Day and it's being observed without a functioning Parliament, what would genuine reform look like 1 year from now? What should be the difference?
Beg your pardon?
If you are to look forward and see changes being brought into effect in course, looking for a parliament from 1 year from now, what would genuine reform look like from your point of view in terms of bringing, that aspired change in parliamentary practices?
The biggest reform would be making sure Parliament is truly connected with the people for whom the laws are being drafted, truly connected with the stakeholders the laws are being drafted for, which would require resourcing support for the parliamentarians to have consultative meetings, to go visit. For example, if you're drafting a bill about agriculture, it will be very important to be able to fly in the farmers to put their views forward, or fly the parliamentarians out to the very specific constituency and connect. Right now, I believe a lot of laws are being drafted that are based on anecdotal evidences, and therefore, to answer your question, Shivani, would be we would need a proper resource planning to ensure the stakeholders, the people, are aware of the laws that are being drafted for them, the deliberations that are being done on their behalf, and for them to have a meaningful say.
Thank you.
So
Thank you,
resourcing
Ms.
would be
Shrestha.
where I would go.
So much for your time and for your very, very insightful say on this particular day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening.
And with this, we get back to the rest of the updates. Minister for Physical Infrastructure and Transport, Kurman Ghising, has instructed contractors to expedite construction of the Mugling Pokhara Road project while inspecting the western section from Jamune to Pokhara today. The minister directed construction companies to complete the work within the stipulated timeline and pledged government support to resolve existing problems. According to officials, the western section has achieved nearly 60% physical progress and about 48% financial progress. Gold prices have risen in the domestic market today compared to last Friday. According to the Federation of Nepal Gold and Silver Dealers Association, the price of gold has increased by 2,200 rupees per 11.6 grams of gold, taking the rate to 258,800 rupees. Silver, meanwhile, is trading at 3,825 rupees per 11.6 grams. On Friday, gold was priced at 256,600 rupees per tola, while silver stood at 3,905. In the international market, gold is trading at $4,299 an ounce, with silver at $62. International news coming up next. For now, a short break. In the international headliner, New South Wales police say at least 12 people were killed in a shooting at Bondi Beach, targeting the Jewish community. A further 29 people have been taken to hospital, including a child. An event was being held at the beach to mark the start of Hanukkah, had more than 1,000 people in attendance. A rescue bomb disposal unit has also been deployed after police found a vehicle which they believe has several improvised explosive devices. Mass shootings are rare in Australia, and that makes the incident more shocking. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns says one gunman has also been killed and a second suspect is in critical condition. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese described the attack as an act of evil anti-Semitism that has struck the heart of Australia. Likewise, a manhunt is underway after 2 students have been killed and 9 other people were injured in a mass shooting at Brown University in Providence of Rhode Island in the United States. The gunman opened fire in a classroom in a building where examinations were taking place. The university, one of the oldest and most prestigious in the U.S., was placed into lockdown as police searched for the gunman, who remains at large. Students in parts of the campus are continuing to be told to shelter in place until police can escort them out of the area. Thailand announced a curfew in its southeastern Trat province as fighting with Cambodia spread to coastal areas of a disputed border region 2 days after U.S. President and would-be peacemaker Donald Trump said the sides had agreed to stop. The Southeast Asian neighbors have resorted to arms several times this year since a Cambodian soldier was killed in a May skirmish, reigniting a conflict that has displaced hundreds of thousands of people on both sides of the border. Thai Foreign Ministry has said there have been clashes continuously since Cambodia again reiterated its openness to a ceasefire on Saturday. Thai forces on Saturday said they had destroyed a bridge that Cambodia used to deliver heavy weapons and other equipment to the region and launched an operation targeting pre-positioned artillery in Cambodia's coastal Koh Kong province. Each side blames the other for instigating the clashes, claiming self-defense and trading accusations of attacks on civilians. Cambodia's defense ministry spokeswoman meanwhile said Thailand continued to fire mortars and bombs into border areas since midnight. Israel has said it killed the head of weapons production in Hamas's military in Gaza after an explosive device detonated and wounded 2 soldiers in the territory's south. The Israeli military described Saad as one of the architects of the October 7, 2023 attack on Israel that sparked the war in Gaza. The military earlier on Saturday said 2 reserve soldiers were lightly injured after the device detonated during an operation to clear the area in southern Gaza. More from the international front when we come back after this short break. Authorities in Pakistan's capital have stepped up efforts to curb worsening air pollution by setting up vehicle emissions checkpoints across Islamabad as the city battles dangerously high smog levels. The measures are part of an intensified campaign to reduce emissions from traffic, one of the main contributors to poor air quality during the winter months. Officials say vehicles found to be emitting excessive pollutants will be barred from entering the city. In the first week of the initiative, authorities issued more than 300 fines at the checkpoints and impounded 80 vehicles that failed to meet emission standards. EPA officials say inspections will continue in the coming weeks alongside public awareness campaigns encouraging vehicle owners to maintain engines properly and switch to cleaner fuels. Time for sports. Nepal's Chandra Bahadur Thapa has created history by winning a bronze medal in the 54 kilograms category at the IBA Men's World Boxing Championship 2025. Returning home today, Thapa was given a warm reception at the Tribhuvan International Airport by officials of the Nepal Boxing Federation, coaches and supporters. The championship, held in Dubai from 3rd to 14th December, saw Thapa defeat boxers from Indonesia, Armenia and Iran before falling in the semi-finals. Along with the bronze medal, he earned $75,000 in prize money, marking a major milestone for Nepali boxing ahead of 2026 Asian Games and the Olympic qualifiers.
हजुरहरूले गर्दा नै म यहाँसम्म आइपुगेको छु र नेपाललाई रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्न पाइरहेको छु र अझै पनि माथिल्लो स्तरमा सम्म पुग्ने छु भन्ने म आशा बोकेको छु र हजुरहरूले पनि यसमा मलाई धेरै धेरै साथ दिनुहुन्छ भन्ने मैले आशा बोकेको छु। राष्ट्रलाई चिनाउँदा नेपाललाई रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्नुपर्दा चिनाउँदा पाउँदाखेरि धेरै गर्व महसुस गरेको छु।
And this brings us to almost the end of the primetime news here on NTV World. Before we wrap up, let's take a look into the headlines once again. At least 12 killed in targeted mass shooting at Bondi Beach, Australia. Authorities label attack as anti-Semitic terrorism. CPM UML votes to keep 301-member Central Committee structure at 11th National Convention, overruling senior leaders' objections. Nepal marks Parliament Service Day for the first time in 24 years without an elected parliament or government. Gold price continues to surge in Nepal, rises by over 2,000 rupees for 11.6 grams in domestic market. Thailand imposes curfew as fighting with Cambodia escalates despite ceasefire plea from the United States. And Chandra Bahadur Thapa makes history with bronze at IBA Men's World Boxing Championship 2025, given a warm welcome on his return at the Tribhuvan International Airport. That's all from the NTV World Primetime News for now. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 as Nepali time. Do join us through our social media handles and get the latest updates from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. This is Shivani Thapa Bosner. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it.
NTV World. Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands.
Reporting for Public Service Broadcasting.
Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
कसैले पनि अब व्हीलचेयरमै चाहिँ बन्जी गर्नुभएको छैन
अहिले चाहिँ आई एम भेरी एक्साइटेड
रमाइलो
यस 2 1 बन्जी
डिफ्रेन्ट आइडियाहरू हुन्छ हाम्रो जस्तै अब खुट्टामा लगाएर नर्मली जम्प गर्नुपर्ने उहाँले चाहिँ हामी बडीमा मात्रै लगाएर जम्प गराउँछौँ
लेट्स गो
The story of Dilip Sapkota and Sisir Dahal, two wheelchair daredevils who challenged their physical limitations by jumping nearly 200 meters. They weren't just attempting a bungee jump, they were making history by attempting a bungee jump in their wheelchair. The location was the famous The Last Resort, offering adventurous thrill over Bhotekosi River in Sindhupalchok district of central Nepal. From the launch pad, a suspension bridge over the river, a free fall 160 meters down the gorge. This bridge had been the launch pad for the courageous and adventure seekers for years. But on this day, the jump was not just about adrenaline rush, but also about defiance, about breaking the barriers. Dilip, a fierce advocate for inclusive tourism, has spent years pushing boundaries, paragliding, ziplining, even bungee jumping without a chair.
म अपङ्गता भइसके पछाडि म आफूलाई कसरी रिफ्रेस बनाउने त, म आफै चाहिँ कसरी ह्याप्पी हुन्छु भनेर आफैले आफैलाई बुझ्दाखेरि चाहिँ मैले घुम्दा ट्राभलहरू गर्दा एडभेन्चरहरू गर्दा अझ म बढी आफै खुसी भएको पाएँ। अनि त्यस पछाडि चाहिँ मलाई मैले प्याराग्लाइडिङहरू गरेँ। प्याराग्लाइडिङहरू गरिसके पछाडि बन्जी पनि गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने लाग्यो अनि मैले बन्जी गरेँ। बन्जी गरेपछि होइन अब यो बन्जीलाई पनि एकचोटि व्हिलचेयरमा पनि बन्जी गर्नुपर्छ होइन। नेपालमा म चाहिँ अपङ्गता भएका साथीहरूले चाहिँ एडभेन्चरकोमा चाहिँ अलिक पछाडि देखिने, उहाँहरू खासै त्यति धेरै एडभेन्चरहरू गर्नलाई त्यस्तो खेलहरू खेल्नलाई डराउने, यस्तो हुन्छ उस्तो हुन्छ भन्ने उहाँहरूको चाहिँ मेन्टालिटी पनि थियो र त्यो मेन्टालिटीलाई पनि चिर्नुपर्छ मैले। यो सकिन्छ, हामीले पनि खेल्न सक्छौँ, गर्न सक्छौँ र एउटा चाहिँ समावेशी पर्यटनलाई पनि यो एउटा वकालत पनि हुन्छ। नेपाल सरकार लगायत सम्बन्धित निकायलाई यो वकालतको पनि एडभोकेसी पनि गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने उद्देश्य राखेर मैले चाहिँ बन्जी गरेको।
Sisir, an agricultural entrepreneur living with spinal paralysis, has turned his challenges into advocacy.
म अनेस्टली भन्नुपर्दा यो चाहिँ पुरै अनप्लान्ड नै हो होइन। जति पनि मेरो लाइफमा म जति पनि एडभेन्चर अथवा गर्छु होइन, त्यति धेरै प्लान गरेर चाहिँ गर्दिम भनेपछि गर्दिम भन्ने टाइपले चाहिँ यसको लागि चाहिँ म विशेष धन्यवाद हाम्रो दिलीप सरलाई म दिन चाहन्छु है। उहाँले मलाई थाहा नै नदिकन ल आज जाम भनेर भन्नुभयो। मैले भोलि हामी बन्जी जम्प गर्दैछौँ भनेर हिजो दोलालघाट आइपुगेपछि, हामी काठमाडौँबाट हिँडेको मान्छे दोलालघाट आइपुगेपछि थाहा पाएको। सो अब गरौँ न त, आइसक्यो भनेर चाहिँ होइन एउटा अनुभव पनि हुन्छ लाइफमा। हामी जस्तो अपाङ्गता भएको व्यक्तिले पनि गर्न सकिन्छ है भन्ने टाइपले होइन। अनि त्यहाँबाट अरूलाई मोटिभेट गर्नलाई साथसाथै अब आफ्नो पनि एउटा रिफ्रेसमेन्टको लागि चाहिँ अब आज हामी बन्जी जम्प गर्न जाँदैछौँ।
Together, the goal was clear: to inspire thousands and redefine what people with disabilities can achieve. A wheelchair bungee jump was no ordinary feat. It demanded innovation, precision, and absolute commitment. The team designed a secure rigging system, checked every bolt and knot, ensuring the wheelchairs and harnesses could withstand the extreme forces.
सेट बाबु खासै त्यस्तो डिफ्रेन्ट त होइन। उहाँहरूको अब स्पेसल अलिकति समस्या भएर त्यो अनुसारको सेफ तरिकाले गर्ने अर्को डिफ्रेन्ट आइडियाहरू हुन्छ हाम्रो। जस्तै अब खुट्टामा लगाएर नर्मली जम्प गर्नुपर्ने, उहाँले चाहिँ हामी बडीमा मात्रै लगाएर जम्प गराउँछौँ। सो खुट्टामा चाहिँ केही पनि प्रेसर पर्दैन, ढाडमा पनि कम प्रेसर पर्छ। सो त्यसरी गर्दा चाहिँ उहाँलाई एकदम कम्फर्टेबल हुन्छ। अनि प्लस अब उहाँले अब तल गएर तान्नुपर्ने हुक गर्नुपर्ने कुराहरू हुन्छ। सकेसम्म उहाँले ट्राई गर्नु भएन भने हामी एकजना रेस्क्यु स्ट्यान्ड बाई हुन्छ। अनि त्यसको लागि चाहिँ हामी अलिक बढी प्रिपेयर गरेर गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ। अब सेफ्टीको हिसाबले अलिकति डिफ्रेन्ट तरिका चाहिँ अपनाउनु पर्यो हामीले।
This was not a stunt. It was proof that adventure can be made accessible.
34औं अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय अपङ्गता दिवस हो। सो यो अपङ्गता दिवसकै दिनमा चाहिँ केही एउटा चाहिँ एडभेन्चर गरौँ होइन। अब कसैले पनि अब व्हिलचेयरमै चाहिँ बन्जी गर्नुभएको छैन, त्यसको लागि पनि एउटा चाहिँ पहिलोचोटि गर्दै हेर अरू साथीहरूलाई पनि एउटा चाहिँ इन्करेज गरौँ भन्ने चाहना हो खास।
At the edge of the platform, silence fell. Dilip rolled forward first. The count began.
Happy International Disability Day, all of you.
A symbol of confinement transformed into a vessel of freedom, probably the first ever wheelchair bungee jump in Nepal.
Promax bungee! खासै अहिले चाहिँ पुरा म नर्मल चाहिँ एकदम चिलमा छु होइन। अब यहाँ हाम फाल्दाखेरि चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ, म हाम फालिसकेपछि अनुभव सुनाउँछु। अहिले चाहिँ आई एम भेरी एक्साइटेड। आई एम गोइङ टु डु समथिङ फर माइसेल्फ होइन। आई एम गोइङ टु डु माई फर्स्ट बन्जी अफ माई लाइफ। सो आई एम भेरी एक्साइटेड।
Then came Sisir's turn. With equal determination, he embraced the drop.
Well, let's go.
leap cemented the moment, not a solo feat, but a shared victory.
Yes. उहाँले आर यु रेडी भन्नुभयो मैले ठिक छ म रेडी भने मैले आँखा चिम्म गरिदिएँ अनि त्यसपछि ठ्याक्कै उहाँले 1 2 3 जम्प भन्नुभयो उहाँले पुस गरिदिनु भयो मलाई म पुस गरेको आँखा चिम्मको चिम्म तल पुगेपछि ठ्याक्क त्यो डोरीले तान्छ नि तानेर माथि आएपछि त्यो समय चाहिँ मैले यस्तो फिल गरेँ कि म बाँचेँ हैन मसँग अब चाहिँ सबै चिजहरू मसँग फेरि पनि छ र मलाई एकदमै आनन्द त्यो टाइमको त्यो 2 सेकेन्ड 3 सेकेन्डको एउटा चाहिँ ह्याप्पिनेस एउटा त्यो रिफ्रेस एउटा त्यो फिलले चाहिँ एकदमै ह्याप्पी दियो क्या मलाई इनर्जी भित्रदेखि मसँग भइरहेको सिद्धिरहेको एउटा चाहिँ इनर्जीलाई ठ्याक्क दियो त्यो झर्दाखेरिको चाहिँ मेरो माइन्ड पुरै रिसेट भइदियो जस्तो भयो क्या केही पनि छैन म एकदमै एकदम नील मसँग केही पनि छैन रित्तियो सकियो मैले सबै चिज छोडिदिएर म झरिसकेको थिएँ हाम फालिसकेको थिएँ तर पुगेर ठ्याक्क तानेर ल्याउँदाखेरि चाहिँ त्यो एउटा मुभमेन्ट चाहिँ मेरो लाइफको चाहिँ एकदम इन्जोयफुल मुभमेन्ट हो जसले चाहिँ मलाई चाहिँ आजको दिनसम्म अझ धेरै उत्प्रेरणाहरू जगाएको एउटा मुभमेन्ट हो त्यो मुभमेन्ट चाहिँ मेरो लागि एकदम मेमोरियल पनि छ
Dilip and Sisir's jump was more than a thrill. It was a loud scream demanding change, a call for accessible tourism.
एक्सेसिबिलिटीकै कुराहरू हुन्छ के हजुरको जस्तो अब मैले पोखरामा प्याराग्लाइडिङ गर्दाखेरि कायाकिङ गर्दाखेरि हैन अप्पर मुस्ताङ चाहिँ हजुरको चाहिँ त्यो अफ रोड गाडीमै जाँदाखेरिको कुराहरुमा चाहिँ अलिकति एक्सेसिबल अलिकति हामीलाई चाहिँ पहुँचयुक्त चाहिँ ठाउँहरु भएदेखि अलिकति सजिलो हुन्थ्यो भनौं न अब यो झोलुङ्गे पुलहरुबाट गरिन्छ हैन त्यहाँ चाहिँ हल्का र्याम्प के जस्तो व्हीलचेयरकै लागि पनि एउटा स्ट्र्याप राख्दाखेरि त काठको एउटा भनौं न त्यो फ्लोरिङ जस्तै टाइपले गर्दै भने त हेल्प गर्ने असिस्ट गर्नेलाई पनि सजिलो हुने अनि हामीलाई पनि सजिलो हुने चाहिँ हुन्छ
बाबु गुरुङको पारिवारिक पृष्ठभूमि सामान्य छ मुस्ताङको फरक र सांस्कृतिक जीवनशैलीमा हुर्किएका उनको बाल्यकाल सामान्य बित्यो
हामी यही आँगनमा खेलेर हुर्क्यौं अनि हामी गुम्बोबाट फर्केर आउँदा पनि यही ढोका तरेर यहाँबाट आमाले बोलाउँथ्यो त्यस्तै त्यो बाल्यकाल यस्तै गर्दै बित्नु भएको थियो अनि यही ढोकाको अगाडि अघि म हिँडेको बाटोमै हाम्रो आमाको साथीहरू चाहिँ दिउँसोको 1-2 बजे पछि त्यही बस्नुहुन्थ्यो त्यो गरेर कुरा गर्दै बस्नु उहाँहरूले चाहिँ अनि मेरो नाम बाबु राख्नु भएको
उनको परिवार उनलाई कुनै गुम्बाको लामा बनाउन चाहन्थ्यो तर उनको रुचि अन्तै थियो
पहिले चाहिँ मुस्ताङ राजाको चाहिँ नेम अनुसार चाहिँ ठुलो छोरालाई चाहिँ गाउँ घर हेर्नुपर्ने र अनि माइलो छोराले चाहिँ गुम्बा जानुपर्ने नियम भएको कारणले चाहिँ म लामा मेरो फ्यामिलीले चाहिँ लामामा पठाउनु भएको। म 20 वर्ष लामा बसेँ। त्यसपछि चाहिँ मेरो इन्ट्रेस्ट चाहिँ कल्चर र वाइल्ड लाइफ प्रतिको त्यो रिलेसनको बारेमा भयो अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ मैले सिटिजन साइन्टिस्टको रूपमा आफ्नो काम त्यो स्टडीहरू आफै गर्दै गएँ।
मुस्ताङको यो सौन्दर्य र भविष्यको लागि आफ्नो तर्फबाट केही गर्ने सोच भएका बाबु आफ्नो पथमा जति अडिग छन् त्यति नै सन्तुष्ट पनि। जो अहिले रात दिन यसरी हिम चितुवाको खोज र संरक्षणमा लागिरहन्छन् र उनी संसारलाई मुस्ताङ चिनाउने ट्रेकिङ गाइड पनि हुन्।
एकचोटि मैले स्नो लेपर्ड भेट्दा मैले 12 घण्टा सँगै बिताएको थिएँ। 12 घण्टा सँगै बिताएको थिएँ। ऊ पारी डाँडामा बस्यो, म यता वारी डाँडामा बसेर चाहिँ यसै हेड एन्ड सिक खेलेको जस्तै भएर बसिरहेको थियो। ऊ पनि सुतिरहेको थियो। म पनि आफ्नै क्यामेरा छेउमा राखेर चाहिँ कहिले फोटो खिच्न मन लागेको फोटो खिच्यो। त्यसपछि चाहिँ उसलाई हेरिरहेर चाहिँ त्यो गरी उसको हेबिटहरू चाहिँ चिनिरहेको भन्छ। त्यो इन्सिडेन्टहरू चाहिँ मलाई बेस्ट लाग्छ।
पहिला हिँड्छु त छिर्छ भने त ऊ फोटो हुन नपाएर नि किनलो क्यामेरा हुन नपाएर गाह्रो भयो। अनि उसको दाइ चाहिँ विदेश गयो। उसलाई धोका गाँथे उसले क्यामेरा पठायो अनि उसले खिच्यो। अनि आमा त जहाँ गयो भने तिमी जहाँ गयो भने नडाँटो हामी साथीसित मिलाएर बसा अनि काम गऱ्यो भने राम्रो हुन्छ। यिनीहरूको बुवाको काम राम्रो रहेछ बाबु। अनि म अलि ढिलो छ बच्चाहरूले धोका दिँदैन। हामी धोका बच्चाहरू त नदुखे बुवाले उर्कायो। आमाले पनि धोका गरेन बच्चाले पनि धोका गरेन। बुवा राम्रो भयो अनि अलि बाँकी नभयो।
नेपालको गण्डकी प्रदेशमा पर्ने मुस्ताङ जिल्ला चीनसँग जोडिएको ठाउँ हो। यो सरदर 4023 मिटर उचाइमा छ। ठूला ठूला रुख बिरुवा विहीन पहाडहरू र यहाँको फरक संस्कृति नै मुस्ताङका विशेषता हुन्। बाबु गुरुङ यही मुस्ताङका छोरा हुन् जसले मुस्ताङमा आफ्नो र मुस्ताङको भविष्य उज्यालो देखेका छन्।
मुस्ताङको एउटा मेन फेसेस भने के हो भने युवाहरू विदेशी नै मेन प्रब्लम। किनकि म जस्तो अहिले यङ केटाहरूले चाहिँ यता बस्नै उनीहरूलाई चाहिँ गाह्रो मान्छ। किनकि उनीहरूले चाहिँ यता कुनै त्यो नै छैन, रोजगारी नै छैन। तर मलाई विश्वास छ यो वाइल्ड लाइफलाई चाहिँ यो मुस्ताङमा चाहिँ विन्टरको 1 महिना भए पनि उनीहरूले रोजगारी दिन्छ। त्यो रोजगारी पनि त्यति त्यो नभइकन उनीहरूले चाहिँ सिक्न पाउनेदेखि लिएर उनीहरूले रोजगारी दिन्छ भन्ने मलाई विश्वास छ। अनि यो हुन्छ तर म गरेरै छोड्छु भन्ने मेरो अब डिटर्मिनेसन जस्तै म गरिरहेको छु।
मुस्ताङ संसारभरिका पर्यटकको गन्तव्य बन्दै गएको छ, जसको एक उदाहरण यी विदेशी नागरिक।
I'm really happy to be here, and me and my wife, we travel a lot, and normally we decide to go to countries where we can combine nature, culture, people, and I like to take photographs. It's my hobby, and therefore for me is this destination perfect.
चौधौं शताब्दीमा बनेको ऐतिहासिक लोमान्थाङ दरबार र यसका भग्नावशेषहरू। च्याम्पो, आनीझुमा लगायत पुराना ऐतिहासिक गुम्बाहरू। प्रसिद्ध मुक्तिनाथ मन्दिर। पितृको श्राद्ध गर्ने काली गण्डकीको तीरमा रहेको कागबेनी। मौलिक मार्फा गाउँ। संसारलाई लोभ्याउने कलात्मक पहाडहरू। यहाँको अद्वितीय मौलिक संस्कार र संस्कृति। शान्त र मौलिक जीवनशैली हो, यिनै हुन् मुस्ताङका परिचय। तिब्बतको नजिकै हुनाले यहाँ प्राय तिब्बती संस्कृति मनाइन्छ। भाषा पनि तिब्बती नै बोलिन्छ। बौद्ध धर्म यहाँको मुख्य धर्म हो। लोमान्थाङ उपत्यका यहाँको सदरमुकाम र सबैभन्दा ठूलो बस्ती भएको ठाउँ हो, जुन एउटा पर्खालले घेरिएको छ। यहाँ केही समय अघिसम्म मुस्ताङी राजाको आफ्नै शासन, नियम र कानुन चल्थे। हाल त्यो शासन नभए पनि यहाँका राजा र राज संस्थालाई मुस्ताङीहरू निकै श्रद्धा गर्छन्। उत्पादनको हिसाबले मुस्ताङ स्याउको लागि प्रसिद्ध छ। मुस्ताङ पुग्न काठमाडौँबाट कास्की जिल्लाको पोखरा पुग्नुपर्छ। सुन्दर नगरी पोखराबाट हवाई जहाजमा सदरमुकाम जोमसोमसम्म पुगेर त्यहाँबाट मोटर यात्रा तय गरेर पनि लोमान्थाङ पुग्न सकिन्छ। यसरी जाँदा पोखरादेखि जोमसोमसम्म हवाई जहाजमा 18 मिनेट लाग्छ अनि जोमसोमदेखि लोमान्थाङसम्म मोटरमा करिब 6 घण्टा लाग्छ। पोखराबाट सिधै मोटरमा लोमान्थाङ जान पनि सकिन्छ। यसरी जाँदा करिब 12 घण्टा लाग्छ।
Welcome to Declassified Beyond the Brief with me, Devendra Subedi. Today we bring you the story from the alleys of Kathmandu to Nasdaq, which is the US stock exchange. The gentleman we have with us today recently hit headlines in Nepal as a successful entrepreneur whose company, Fuse Machines, a company working in the field of artificial intelligence, which we call AI, made its debut at the Nasdaq, or the US stock exchange. In this episode of Declassified, we try to explore the journey of a successful Nepali in global business arena, artificial intelligence itself, changing trends in global business world, Nepali identity abroad, and much more.
Dr. Samir Maske, a change maker, computer scientist and educator, has spent his career at the crossroads of innovation and education. He believes artificial intelligence isn't just transforming industries, it's reshaping opportunity itself. In 2013, he founded Fuse Machines, a New York-based company with a bold mission to democratize AI and make its benefits accessible to all. Though headquartered in the United States, its roots and much of its talent remain deeply connected to Nepal, where the company first launched its AI fellowship program, training local engineers and students in cutting-edge technology. Over the past decade, Fuse Machines has empowered thousands of AI learners and built advanced solutions across finance, healthcare, retail, and media, bridging academics and industry. Its proprietary platform, AI Studio, drives predictive and generative AI systems, helping businesses automate decisions, detect fraud, and make sense of data at scale. Listed on Nasdaq in October 2025, Fuse Machines reached a valuation of about $200 million. From Kathmandu to New York, Dr. Maske's vision proves that innovation and education can bridge worlds, turning intelligence into opportunity.
Please welcome Dr. Samir Maske, founder and CEO of Fuse Machine.
Thank you for having me here.
Dr. Maske, is the joy of being listed in Nasdaq still soaking in?
Definitely. It was a very long, arduous, hard journey to get listed in Nasdaq, and it's a relief, obviously, and it's slowly sinking in that we're actually now listed in Nasdaq and we're a public company.
So we're pretty lucky because we caught you in person here in Kathmandu, because you're basically based in your headquarters in New York. Is it a holiday trip after that success?
It's partly holiday trip, partly work. So my family, my mother, sister, brother, basically pretty much all of my extended family is here. So I'm here to see them. And then because how difficult the process was, the usual trips I used to make months of times a year, I had not been able to make it for almost last 12 months to see all the colleagues and employees here in Nepal office. So part of it is just coming back to see everyone and see all the colleagues in Fuse Machines, Nepal.
It will be an interesting conversation with Dr. Samir Maske, but initially what we're going to do is we are going to go to the roots of Dr. Maske. Let's start with your journey, Dr. Maske. Can you tell us more about your journey from the alleys of Kathmandu, I prefer to say it, to Nasdaq?
Definitely. So I was born and raised in Nepal. Yeah, so as a child, I would run in the gullies of Tamil. That's where I grew up. I went to school here. Finished my SLC, it's called ACE now, and the ISC, and now it's mostly plus 10 plus 2 and A-levels and so forth. So I finished my ISC, taking science as a subject. And during my last year, I applied for colleges in the US. I got a scholarship into a few colleges, and that's when my journey to the United States started. Went to the US, to Bates College. It's a small college up in Maine, and studied math and physics. and then went on to do a PhD in AI because I was interested in computer science. I was interested in making machines talk, making machines understand us. And so that research passion led me doing a PhD, after which I joined IBM Watson Research Center, where I continued to do research on speech-to-speech translation system, like English to French, German, Chinese, Arabic, many different kinds of speech-to-speech translation systems, question answering systems, deep question answering systems and whatnot. And as I did that for quite a while, after some time, I left IBM and then started teaching AI courses at Columbia University, and then also started Fuse Machines, which was also based on basically all the learnings I had done on AI and thinking about how to turn that into a business.
It is an interesting fact that Dr. Samir Maski is currently an adjunct associate professor at the University of Columbia teaching AI. So it's not just business, right? Can you tell us more about how your academics helped you build a business?
Education has been very close to my heart for a long time. My mom was a school teacher, it's called the Bhagwan Bal, as this primary school. So I'd seen her teach all these kids, and when I used to come back from school, I could see her teaching and so forth, and would wait outside. So, and I've seen over the years how education, the students she has taught to all these kids have grown up now and are successful in their own businesses or education and so forth. So academia has always been very close and always been very interested in it, and that's why I ended up doing a PhD. Like, research was a passion, knowledge was a passion. So because of that, when I was in my undergrad and I was studying math and physics, I wanted to build a speech synthesis system. And that led me to a library where I found a book and then started reading about it and taught myself how to build a speech synthesizer. And that started my academic journey on AI, like almost 25 years ago.
So you started your journey into AI, doing research, your academics in AI almost 25 years ago.
Yes, when nobody cared about AI. Right now, AI is, like, everybody talks about AI, but 25 years ago, nobody cared. And it was just sheer interest on how things work as an engineering field.
I'd be wrong if I say your interest was only in IT at that time. In fact, 25 years ago, you were already targeting your zeroing on your interest area as AI then 25 years ago.
Yes. In fact, the first, I had built this Nepali text-to-speech synthesizer, which is making machines talk in Nepali. And I released it as an open source software. I did a presentation at NAST, at the time RONAST, and I gave a presentation on how to build a Nepali speech synthesis, like making machines speak in Nepali. And that was 24 years ago.
How was the reaction after that? Did anybody come back and consult you and try to develop that into a new thing in Nepal?
It was good, like at the moment but it didn't materialize into anything else out of it. So we released that open source. But Nepal was pretty far behind in computer science, IT, especially 20-something years ago. There was barely internet, right? And a lot of the talent we have, who has exposure, was not there yet. So nobody really knew what to do with it. Somebody came, presented Nepali speech synthesis system. Okay, it sounds great, but how to use it here, how to build on it, none of that happened. So that software just stayed there in the shelf.
Before starting your own company, you worked for some world-renowned companies. When exactly did you decide it's time now for me to start my business?
So after PhD, I worked at IBM Watson Research Center as a research staff member for a few years. And as I mentioned, it was that interest of building speech-to-speech translation system, and IBM had one of the best speech-to-speech translation system research group at the time. And as I did research and published papers, and did more research and published papers, it came to a point where I saw, well, I've been doing research by then I'd been doing research for almost 15 years. And we're doing research and publishing. Like, it's not really impacting lives in the scale that I wanted. So after about 5 years after working at IBM, I said, okay, can I take all the learnings in AI I've been doing since like early 2000 to this is like 2013, 2012. Can I take all of that and apply into a business and start a company, build an AI product and sell it, build a business around it so that it can have impact? And that's sort of what I did.
In the next part of the conversation, we'll talk about the Fuse machines itself. Well, Dr. Maski, if I don't ask you these questions, maybe I'll not be doing justice to my viewers as well. How rich are you at this moment?
It all depends on how one perceives wealth, right? At the end of it, what matters is the family and health. For me, that's the most important thing, the family and being there and making an impact and so forth. The total market cap when it for the deal was 200 million. Post money is 280 million. And the opening at that opening at $10. It has gone down and is opened at less. So as the share prices move back and forth, you know, it could come down, it could go up, and so forth. But it's no longer just me, right? It's all of our employees. Many of our employees are shareholders. A lot of the investors are shareholders.
Is it possible for a Nepal-based company to be enlisted globally, like in NASDAQ or in other global share market or stock exchanges? Is it possible? It has to be US-based.
I think from legality perspective, at least Nepal laws do not allow a fully Nepali company to be listed in NASDAQ because of some of the old rules and laws around Nepali citizens' rights of owning foreign assets and foreign shares and so forth. If that changes, then definitely so. As of right now, it has to be, at least as of right now, if there are companies that are headquartered in the US and is based in the US but have, you know, significant presence and have origins in Nepal, they can definitely list in NASDAQ.
So you are the first company that was founded by a Nepali person of Nepali origin to be enlisted in NASDAQ. How big is it?
I would say, you know, being the company that has, basically we have a lot of presence in here. We are Nepali roots, Nepali values, and so forth. And from that perspective, being one of the first company to have such level of roots and ties to Nepal and being listed in NASDAQ is extremely satisfying, obviously. And I hope it becomes an example for other companies to strive and be listed in NASDAQ or other New York, other stock exchanges. And I hope we are the first among many to do that.
What's your next business plan? Like, you are spreading slowly into a global business. You are already in South America, in some of the countries in North America, Canada, US, also Nepal-based, you said. So what's your next plan to promote the business globally?
Especially as a public company, growth is one of the most significant metric that everybody looks at us from, right? So from that perspective, one of the biggest focus would be growth. Both organic growth with with our own team doing more sales and so forth, and with inorganic growth as well, with potential acquisitions and M&A activities and so forth. As far as the scaling out from just the US and Nepal, we've already on multiple countries, and we will continue to expand based on the needs of the clients, based on where we see the most value being generated and where the growth from sales happens.
There must have been challenges in the journey. Right now, as you said, you started it in 2013, almost 12 years of hard work, promotion, dedication, vision, innovation, as you said, right? As I have seen, as I saw myself, most of the Nepalese or Nepali diaspora in the US, I found a lot of youngsters working in the field of IT. So what are the challenges for, let's say, Nepali youngsters in the US or even in Nepal to build a business in IT or AI at present? What are the major challenges that you would suggest they should resolve those first?
Particularly in Nepal?
Nepal, as well as the Nepali diaspora in the US who want to emulate your steps.
I would say Nepali diaspora has an easy. I mean, starting a company is not easy, obviously. But if you look at the challenges, the youth in Nepal, they are faced with more challenges on trying to start a business and scale it. I would say there are various reasons for it, and there are many kinds of challenges. And one of the biggest challenges I would say is on funding, because especially as a smaller company, as a smaller startup, funding, you do need funding to sustain the company as you try to figure out product market fit, service market fit, and you need to be able to sustain that while you might not be making a lot of revenue. Especially if you want to go for, solving very extremely hard problems, you might not have a revenue coming in soon. In those cases, places like the United States or other countries, there's more capital, there's more risk capital available, where the investors may take a chance saying, okay, let's see where this can lead to, where you are able to take the risk and really build a very strong suite of products without having a clear revenue model right in the day one. But obviously all businesses require revenue models, but you get longer time to do that. In Nepal, there is not a lot of financing mechanisms for an entrepreneur to stay afloat while they are taking this risk and building these extremely difficult products. So that's one of the biggest challenges I see.
For an innovation like AI, IT, initially, to be an enterprise has to have an impact. In Nepal, where IT still is, I would not say a luxury right now, because we do have access almost across the country right now, though intermittent at times. So what challenge do you see in a country like ours, where you would see more and more IT-based company, AI-based companies emerging?
So besides the capital, I think compute infrastructure there's not, for example, even we struggle to find enough GPUs. And for AI, you need a lot of GPUs and compute power to build these models, train these models, inference, and to do an inference and so forth. And if we want the tech infrastructure and the overall tech ecosystem in Nepal to really produce a lot of tech companies, IT companies that are building products for Nepal, in Nepal, for Nepalese, then the compute infrastructure needs to be figured out. And that has not been done so. So I think that's one of the challenges. There are other challenges, obviously, from intellectual property laws and so forth, right? Like in a lot of more developed countries, some of these laws are more fine-tuned, so nobody can just do whatever they want, and if they're infringing copyrights and so forth, some of those needs to be also tightened up, so that somebody who's taking that risk and building something has some capacity to say, this is what I built and this is my intellectual property.
Going back to Fuse Machines, Dr. Maske, what makes a great company? Fuse Machines, let's say, where would you rank in the scale of a great company from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest?
I do not know how to rank the company that I started. But what I can say is, for any company, one of the most crucial factor is the culture of the company, on how everybody comes together to do something very big. And in order to do that, one of the most important stuff is vision. Like, what is the overall vision of the company? So I think the vision brings about the clarity on where you want to go. And the culture is part of the main DNA of the company that makes a company exciting to work for, exciting to join, exciting to build things for. And those parameters makes a great company.
So if I say it's great visionary leadership, backed up by a very creative and ethical workforce, that makes a great company. Would I be wrong?
Yeah, I think that is a good way to sum it.
So Fuse Machine is right in that track. Would you say that?
So we have amazing set of leaders in the company who are unified in the vision of democratizing AI, and that thesis of what we believe in, of making sure especially talent is everywhere, but opportunities are not, and opportunities should be. And having that clarity on that vision and all the leadership seeing that and creating the culture needed for the company to fulfill that dream. I think that makes the Fuse machines be able to execute things the way we want, that has allowed us to be at this stage.
How is the work culture, as you said, like how multinational is the team right now in Fuse machines?
Oh, very much. So, there are many languages get spoken. We are across quite a few countries in Latin America as well. We have employees in India, consultants in India. We have largest presences in Nepal. Then we're in Canada. So there's a mix of different cultures and languages, which makes it very exciting
to work as and to lead it as well. Yes. Well, very inspiring story of Dr. Samir Maske. That's what we are hearing right now, right here at the studios of NTV World. And in the next part of this conversation, we talk about Dr. Samir Maske as an international Nepali citizen, the flag bearer of Nepal in the global market. Dr. Maske, you have emerged as a Nepali flag bearer in the global business arena, but the emergence of your, let's say, emergence remained a pleasant surprise to many in Nepal. It was very quiet journey. We only came to know about your Fuse machines, Dr. Samir Maske, very few. But how did you keep it so quietly, or how did you do it intentionally quietly?
We've been building the business for almost 12, 13 years. And when you are truly trying to fulfill your vision, it's never about never about marketing and brand and stories and whatnot. It's about the overall ethos of what you're trying to do, which is impact lives, bring job opportunities, provide high quality education. So we've been doing that for a while, because that's the core mission of Fuse machines. And as we have done it, people have heard about some of the fellowship programs we have done. So we started AI Fellowship, Fuse Machines AI Fellowship, almost 7-8 years ago. I took some of my courses and packaged it and then taught it here to a surprisingly amazing results, which allowed us and said, okay, we should take that and make it a full-blown AI fellowship program. And now, especially among young youth who are trying to learn AI, they know the AI fellowship program quite well. Whenever we open the fellowship programs, we get thousands of applicants. So, it's among the community of AI and engineers, people do know about Fuse machines, but probably maybe not in a broader Nepal view.
Anyway, it has been a very successful journey, but can you define success now? It's a very, let's say, ambiguous question I might be asking, but for you, what is success? How can you define it, relating it to you personally?
So, success, the word success could mean different things for different people, right? Depending on the age, depending on where you're at the stage of life and so forth. For a young kid, passing that final exam and getting 100% is the success. For a global world leader, making, impacting millions of lives is probably a success. So it means different things for different people. If I were to think about that word itself, what comes to my mind is family, being there for them. My wife, my kids, my mother, my sister, brother, and so forth, and being there when they need me, and being able to share the experience as a whole together is a success.
Has it changed you a bit, the success that you've achieved in the last few years, especially after, let's say, the enlisting in the US stock exchange? Has it changed you personally? Has your life changed, or it's still the same?
No, nothing has changed. It is still the same. There's been a bit of exposure here, and there's been news articles and whatnot, but no, nothing has changed on a day-to-day life.
Well, Dr. Maske, being a Nepali citizen originally, Was it difficult or easier for you to work in the US, especially when you were trying to build up a business?
US is a melting pot of pretty much all citizens around the world, of all ethnicity, races, and so forth. I went as a very young kid, right after high school, and it didn't make as much of a difference, especially when you are among the students who are all there to study. Nepal definitely has that charm for a lot of people, where they learn about Mount Everest, they learn about the culture here, and so forth. From a perspective of having deep roots and values that have been instilled to me by my mom and the family, has definitely helped. Right, the transparency, truth, ethics. These are like hospitality. These are some of the values that you learn in Nepal when you grow up, and those have definitely helped me in a global world on being able to compete.
So your roots have definitely helped you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nepali roots have absolutely helped me.
We are just talking about the journey, the dedication, the hard work that Dr. Samir Maske and his team, the multinational team behind the success of the Fuse machine, put up in these 13 years for the investment in NASDAQ. Now, in the next part of our conversation, we talk about AI, which I am a novice in, and to much of our viewers must be more interesting because they are much into it. How would you define AI, the artificial intelligence, Dr. Maske, being a practitioner and in fact a person who has built up a business, a very successful one in it? How would you define AI? What exactly is AI?
You can think of it as a machine that takes input, does a reasoning on it, and produces an output that is useful for humans. If I were to define it in the simplest form, that's what it would be. That reasoning system that sits in the middle, taking input and producing outputs that's useful for humans.
Is it still an evolving technology, or it's at its peak? In the next 5 years, how would it evolve, if it's evolving?
It is still very evolving. And the pace of evolution, or the change in AI and the tech behind AI, is unlike I've ever seen before. Right? Like, I did research in question answering system. The natural language processing world has been my life from PhD to at IBM to teaching, all of that. But over the last 5 years, suddenly everything has changed in AI. A lot of things have changed. So the speed at which AI is changing is extremely rapid, and it will continue to do so. Definitely there is a little bit of overhype where people think, like when I talk to some enterprise C-suite, they think, they may have heard and read and whatnot, and they think everything under the sun can be solved with AI, which is not the case. But it can do a lot at the moment.
Where do you see the technology in the next 5 years?
So,
especially I'm asking you this question because there's a few people like me who do not have much information about AI. We fear as if it is going to replace human intelligence, or even job loss, or let's say loss of privacy. These are some of the issues that we basically fear. So is that a valid fear in us?
Some of it could be valid from a perspective of, maybe not in 5 years, but in 10 years, do we not have all the cars going to drive itself, right? And I was just in San Francisco recently, and
that's already a reality there.
It's already a reality. I ordered a Waymo, which is similar to Uber, but it's a driverless car. A car just came near me, the door opened, I sat inside, and it just took me a route, stopped and opened and got out. There was no driver. So now that tech is evolving very fast, and more cities are producing that. Now that could generate a genuine questions to all the people who are making their livelihood based on driving cars or driving, like providing this.
Or the Uber service, let's say, just to be specific in the US.
Now, should they be worried a bit?
They are worried, because I had a very interesting conversation with some of the people in LA itself who are in this service. So they were pretty much worried, especially the diaspora, Nepali diaspora, or the people who are relying to that. So that could be a possibility.
That could definitely be a possibility. So there are jobs where it could potentially be fully automated. But having said that, I would say AI brings in a lot of augmentation and efficiency gains, which will not necessarily replace the human, but produce a lot more efficient human, almost like a superhuman, where the person will be able to do more jobs in less amount of time. And that efficiency gains could impact overall economic output, which could then generate a lot more new kind of jobs, right? Like already there is prompt engineering, which does not exist before. AI audit, like auditing AI models, those kind of jobs did not exist. So there are new jobs already being created. So I think that will happen as well.
How foolproof is it, Dr. Maske? Can we 100% rely on it?
Foolproof as in, will it always be accurate? And I mean, depends on the problem that it is working on.
Since you're talking about auditing, for example, so would it be 100% correct in that sense?
At least probably, if you try to build an AI audit system at this point, it probably will not. And in many cases, it might never be 100%, because we as humans also make error.
Or the people like you would like to leave some space for the humans there as well?
No, the thing is, the AI is just learning from humans. And when it's learning from humans, if the training data has certain amount of ambiguity, then it will also not be able to separate out some of those ambiguities, in which case it will make those errors. So in many cases, you will see 95% accuracy or 96%. In some instances, it has gone to 99%. But if you look at enterprise AI being built right now, in many cases, it is actually 90% or less than 90%, right? So there's still a decent amount of progress that we need to do to make AI what I quote unquote foolproof, which is not the case for every instance right now.
Well, enlighten me on this particular question, Dr. Maske. People like me who are still a novice, or people like many of our viewers who are pretty much, let's say, a novice in AI, will they be a misfit in near future in the society?
Misfit as in?
In terms of everything, because we are taking assistance for AI, as you said earlier, could be a misinterpretation or misuse of the technology itself, for each and everything, from students doing their homework to designing mega projects. We have heard AI can be used and is being used. So if you do not know how to get acquainted with it, or if you're not acquainted with it, will that person be a misfit soon in the society?
Yeah, I would say as the AI evolves and it produces these tools that we can use for efficiency gains and so forth, the more and more people should learn how to use some of these tools, because if you don't use it, I don't know if misfit is the word, but you will be left behind, right? Because somebody else who has a similar job or role and academic credentials, if knows how to be 50% or 100% more efficient because he or she knows how to use the tools, then obviously that person has an advantage.
Let's move on to one of the slogans of your company, Dr. Maske. Democratizing AI is one of the slogans of your company, Fuse Machines. Can you tell us more about it? Why AI needs democratization? And what does that slogan exactly mean?
For us, it means providing AI education, high quality AI education in all the underserved countries and communities around the world and in the United States. And providing that access to AI such that everybody is able to learn AI and build AI for their own communities. That's what democratized AI means for us.
So your company is championing that. How much of that contribution your company has started making in, let's say, making it more accessible in every nooks and corners of this world, let's say?
So we've been doing AI fellowship as part of the democratizing AI effort in Nepal, We've done in a few countries in Africa, we've done in Latin America, we've done in the United States. So we've been providing this free education as part of that mission and journey. In Nepal, we've been doing fellowship programs for quite a while, and we launched a program called AI Shiksha for Nepal as part of this democratizing AI effort. And we will continue to do so. And the hope is AI Shiksha for Nepal program will through that program, we'll be able to provide AI education to many students here in Nepal.
What is the contribution of a country like Nepal in the global AI ecosystem?
It can make a lot of contribution.
That's a meaningful statement. It can make.
Yes, it can make a big contribution, a very meaningful contribution to the in the global stage of AI. And I would say that partly because of the talent here. There is a lot of talent who can be trained in AI and who can produce both services and product for the world. Services, obviously, outsourcing services and other kind of services can be done here from Nepal. But beyond that, I think the talent is so good that if we just train them a bit more and make them competitive enough for a global stage, then they will be able to build products right here in Nepal for the world. In which case you will have products built in Nepal, sold out all outside of Nepal and in Nepal. And I think that will be a global contribution. But beyond that, even for Nepal, I think there are a lot of AI products that could be built in Nepal for Nepal by Nepali engineers. And I think that will be amazing to see in the coming months, years, and the decade.
My question is, the ethical use of AI, how would you promote it and advocate it, given that your slogan, democratizing AI, is also trying to spread it across? So does that promote the ethical use of AI or the random use of AI?
So when we do provide AI education, we talk, one of the chapters and sections is about ethics, AI ethics and AI policies and so forth. And this is a very important question because AI is impacting a lot of lives and it's starting to automate a lot of things. And as you said, some people might lose jobs, some people might not be happy about this. But in total, net, I think there's a lot of good that is coming. But even then, ethics and how AI and the data privacy sort of interacts with it, and do we have right policies on data privacies? Do we have right laws mandated on face recognition? So those are some of the very important questions that we need to address. And I think many countries are starting to catch up to the tech, right? Because the tech's so speeding ahead that government, federally, locally, are still doing a catch-up game on policies, right? And to give you an example, there was a law passed a while ago that, not in Nepal, outside of Nepal, that if you are using an AI system to filter resumes for more than 50%, that model needs to be audited. But what does model auditing, AI model auditing even means, and who's going to do it? None of that was clear, right? So that created a situation where people were confused. So I think, especially things related to AI and the ethics of AI, there needs to be more study. There needs to be more policymakers who has also studied AI, spend time on it, and figure out how all of this intersection needs to be untangled to make sure AI is impacting lives for better and not necessarily for worse.
We see a lot of misuse of AI, let's say defaming someone, infringing into privacy of someone. So could there be a system within the AI itself that could stop things like that?
If not fully stop, at least identifying misinformation, fake videos, fake pictures. Those are some of the new AI systems being built. We are all, because we have had some issues where, for example, the candidates, especially when we are hiring remote engineers, the person who interviewed versus person who applied and who started working were all different. And we didn't catch fast enough until they got onboarded. And then we realized, oh, the person who's attending the meeting doesn't look anywhere like the person who interviewed, right? And we are playing that catch-up. And that playing that catch-up requires actually additional kind of AI systems, which will also help us to catch fake videos and fake interviewers, like job interviewers who are interviewing with generated faces in the interviews, and so forth. So to catch the systems, we need, it's the AI system generating the problems, but at the same time, we need AI systems to help us catch those problems as well.
And that needs greater investment, as you said, greater enforcement. For example, kids as young as, let's say, 10, 12, were exposed to AI tools, are not aware about the ethical use of AI, because the system that they are exposed with would be the cheaper one, readily available one, free to use one, which are more onto attracting users and generating money out of that. So can there be a system within the AI to control things as such?
Yeah, definitely. I think there is verification systems coming in place, and I think even the large language model systems like ChatGPT and others are coming up with a framework on how to give a safe access to kids of certain age, below 13, below 9, below 18, and so forth. So those could be built in.
Very interesting conversation. We're talking to Dr. Samir Maske, founder and CEO of Fuse Machines, adjunct associate professor at University of Columbia, teaches artificial intelligence, which could replace you and I tomorrow unless we get to learn about it, unless we learn more and more about it. We are trying to conclude this conversation now. Dr. Samir Maske, what message do you have to the aspiring Nepali entrepreneurs who want to build businesses around AI, IT, and go globally as you?
What I would say is, for aspiring entrepreneurs here, you have the talent, you have skills that are equally competitive to any other aspiring entrepreneurs around the world. And if you aspire to build an AI company, you should absolutely go for it and build it and start a dream here, but I'm pretty sure many will be able to take it to the global stage. So you should just absolutely go for it.
Final thought on the political changes that the country has seen, if any you want to make?
There's been a lot of changes over time, and some of the frustrations have boiled up to a level where it brought about this change, and this puts us at a beginning stages of being able to bring a new kind of processes, new kind of developments, and a new energy in the youth that hopefully will energize the whole government, and hopefully with the new election coming in, we'll have a new government set up that will work for all Nepali citizens for the greater good of Nepal.
Dr. Samir Maske. Dr. Maske, it was a great pleasure for NTV World Studios to have you on Declassified. Wish you more luck, and maybe you would be able to make your company more global next time we meet again. Thank you so much for your time and your thoughts.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, we had a very inspiring conversation with Dr. Samir Maske, the founder and CEO of Fuse Machines. Hope this conversation inspires all the budding entrepreneurs who would like to follow his footsteps, if not being better than what he has achieved so far. Well, do keep us following on our social media platforms, our Facebook page, our X page, our TikTok handle, and also on our website, www.ntvworldnepal.com. Until next time, from this episode of Declassified, bye-bye.
Hello, Saudi Kharka, hello!
एकदमै राम्रो रहेछ रिफ्रेस्ड फिल भयो त्यो के होसबाट अलि टाढा आएको जस्तो
यहाँसम्मको एउटा केबल कार भइदिए एकदम बेटर हुन्थ्यो जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई
माहौल अथवा यहाँको वातावरण यति रमणीय छ कि यसलाई शब्दमा वर्णन गर्न पनि साध्य छैन
The gently flowing Sani Bheri is suddenly veiled by drifting clouds, and with the chill rising from its swift current, the desire to soar is fulfilled as we enter eastern Rukum. Stone and clay houses stacked upon one another, the white Himalayan peaks, vibrant flower gardens of Bukit Batan, melodious rivers and lakes, and unique authentic arts and culture. All of these make Eastern Rukum a place that captivates every visitor. Our aim is to bring this distant, remote land closer to all. This time our destination is Chauri Khorga, located at an altitude of about 4,000 meters above sea level. Our trek begins at Bati Halune. On the border of Eastern Rukum and Baglung along the Mid-Hill Highway. Though it is said that the hike to Chauri Khorga takes around 3 hours, we wonder how long it will take us.
रमाइलो छ उद्यान छ हात हाततिर त त्यही ल घामले गर्दा रमाइलो लाग्यो देख्छ भन्ने यस्तो रमाइलो ठाउँ रहेछ हेर्नु
Wow! I'm very happy.
हिजो हामीले यस्तो मजाको सिन हेर्न पाइएन अहिले चाहिँ त्यही अब आज हजुर
बिहान 5 बजे आएर ल्याएको
हिजो बेलुका त पुरै कुहिरो दियो यहाँ त केही देखिएन
Chaurikarka sits high in the hills of Bhumi Rural Municipality 1 in eastern Rukum. It is truly a rare gift of nature, beyond words to fully describe. In winter, these hills lie under a blanket of snow, but now they open up in vibrant color. Green pastures, wide grazing lands, blossoming flowers, and herds of yaks, sheep, and horses make Chaurikarka a destination of extraordinary delight. When the sun breaks through the northern peaks, Puta, Dhaulagiri, Chure, and Sisne, they reveal themselves in full grandeur. Rivers flowing through the valleys, including the northern Ganga and Niseldhor, together with the backdrop of Dhor Patan, enchant every traveller. The meadows of Chauri Kharka bloom with colourful flowers. Among them, cows, sheep and horses graze peacefully, creating a scene that feels almost dreamlike. Travelers walk along narrow trails, disappearing and reappearing through the mist, immersed in the enchantment of the landscape.
हाम्रो वरिपरिको यो डाँडाहरू भ्यू भनेको उसु भने वाइल्ड फ्लावर्सले सबैले एकदम रिफ्रेश त्यही नै भन्ने होला आउनु पनि वर्थ इटै छ.
The weary faces of trekkers brighten as they take in these views, and you can clearly see joy and wonder reflected in their eyes. Fatigue melts away into the beauty of nature. Eastern Rukum is blessed with a wealth of natural treasures, mountains, rivers, lakes, caves, and valuable herbs. In recent years, Chauri Kharka has become an increasingly popular destination for domestic travelers, drawing visitors eager to witness its natural magnificence.
Thailand has announced a curfew in its southeastern Trat province as fighting with Cambodia spread to coastal areas over disputed border region 2 days after US President and would-be peacemaker Donald Trump said the sides had agreed to stop. The Southeast Asian neighbors have resorted to arms several times this year since a Cambodian soldier was killed in May, reigniting a conflict that has displaced hundreds of thousands of people on both sides of the border. Thai Foreign Ministry had said there have been clashes continuously since Cambodia again reiterated its openness to a ceasefire on Saturday. Thailand says it is open to a diplomatic solution, but Cambodia has to cease hostility first before they can negotiate.
We're concerned because some of the points in his tweet doesn't, in our view, doesn't reflect an accurate understanding of the situation, and some of the points are inconsistent with the facts. Perhaps President Trump, the source of information, had deliberately distorted the facts.
Thai forces on Saturday said they had destroyed a bridge that Cambodia used to deliver heavy weapons and other equipment to the region and launched an operation targeting pre-positioned artillery in Cambodia's coastal Koh Chong province. Thailand's curfew covers 5 districts of Trat province, excluding the tourist islands of Koh Chang and Koh Kud. The military had previously imposed a curfew in the eastern Sakeo province, which remains in force. Thailand and Cambodia have exchanged heavy weapons fired at multiple points along their 817 kilometers borders since Monday, and some of the most intense fighting since a 5-day clash in July that ended with Trump and Malaysian mediation. Trump said he spoke to Thailand's caretaker Prime Minister Anutin Charnvirakul and Cambodian Premier Hun Manet on Friday and said they had agreed to cease all shooting. On Saturday, Anutin vowed to keep fighting until they feel no more harm and threats to their land and people. Each side blames the other for instigating the clashes, claiming self-defense and trading accusations of attacks on civilians. Cambodia's defense minister spokesperson meanwhile said Thailand continues to fire mortars and bombs into border areas since midnight. Israel says it killed the head of weapons production in Hamas's military in Gaza after an explosive device detonated and wounded 2 soldiers in the territory's south. The Israeli military described Shad as one of the architects of the October 7, 2023 attack on Israel that sparked the war in Gaza. The military earlier on Saturday said 2 reserve soldiers were lightly injured after the device detonated during an operation to clear the area in southern Gaza. Hamas has not confirmed the death of Raad Saad. It said in a statement that a civilian vehicle had been struck inside Gaza City and asserted it was a violation of the ceasefire that took effect on October the 7th. Saad served as the Hamas official in charge of manufacturing and previously led the militant group's operations division. The Israeli statement said that he had been engaged in rebuilding the terrorist organization in a violation of the ceasefire. Israel and Hamas have repeatedly accused each other of truce violations. Israel's 2-year campaign in Gaza has killed more than 70,000 Palestinians, roughly half of them women and children, according to the territory's health ministry, which does not distinguish between militants and civilians in its count. Much of Gaza has been destroyed and most of the population of over 2 million people have been displaced. Humanitarian aid entry into the territory continues to be below the level set by the ceasefire terms. Authorities in Pakistan's capital have stepped up efforts to curb worsening air pollution by setting up vehicle emission checkpoints across Islamabad as the city battles dangerously high smog levels. The measures are part of an intensified campaign to reduce emissions from traffic, one of the main contributors to poor air quality during the winter months. Officials say vehicles found to be emitting excessive pollutants will be barred from entering the city. In the first week of the initiative, authorities issued more than 300 fines at the checkpoints and impounded 80 vehicles that failed to meet emission standards. EPA officials say inspections will continue in the coming weeks alongside public awareness campaigns encouraging vehicle owners to maintain engines properly and switch to cleaner fuels. Islamabad, like several major cities across Pakistan, regularly experiences severe smog episodes that reduce visibility and pose serious health risk. The government says tighter vehicle controls are a key part of a broader strategy to address air pollution, which also includes monitoring industrial emissions and promoting greener transport options. The Palace Museum, also known as the Forbidden City, was blanketed by Beijing's first snow of this winter, transforming the 600-year-old Imperial Palace complex into a winter wonderland and drawing crowds of visitors eager to capture its beauty. The UNESCO World Heritage Site, which once served as the imperial residence of the Ming and Qing dynasties, appeared especially striking as its signature red walls and yellow glazed roofs were dusted with soft white snow. The contrast between the vivid colors and the snow-covered courtyards evoked classical Chinese landscape paintings and highlighted the architectural grandeur of the historical complex. Despite the biting cold, tourists and local residents alike braved the low temperatures to stroll through the palace grounds. For visitors, the rare combination of the snowfall and imperial architecture offered a fleeting but memorable glimpse of the Forbidden City in one of the most enchanting seasonal forms. At Miami International Airport, 6-year-old Andy lost his belongings as he prepared to board a flight to Guatemala. This was not a year-end holiday to visit relatives, but a life-changing journey away from the United States. Andy was leaving behind the country he had known as his home to reunite with his father, who was recently deported. His father's removal came under President Donald Trump's aggressive immigration policies aimed at expelling undocumented migrants. Cases like Andy's highlight the human impact of strict deportation enforcement, particularly on children caught between borders and identities. As families are split or forced to relocate, advocates say the long-term emotional and social consequences are profound, extending well beyond airport gates and immigration statistics. The UNESCO Intergovernmental Committee for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage, meeting in New Delhi of India from 8 to 13 December, examined 67 elements for inscription on the list of intangible cultural heritage at the initiative of 77 countries. With this year's inscriptions, 849 cultural practices in 157 countries are now part of UNESCO's Living Heritage list. With over 1,400 participants, this session of the committee was the largest to date, reflecting the growing importance attached to the safeguarding of intangible cultural heritage. Among the elements presented this year, 9 were multinational inscriptions submitted by 28 countries. This 2025 session also marked the first inscription for 7 countries, including Barbados, Chad, and El Salvador. These inscriptions reflect the growing role of the Convention in strengthening dialogue and cooperation between states, as well as their shared ambition to promote the safeguarding of living heritage. Africa's continuous commitment was confirmed at this session with the inscription of 9 elements by 13 countries. Crucially, they demonstrate that intangible cultural heritage is not only transmitted in a symbolic way, but represents a source of income for the bearers, echoing the thematic initiative developed on the economic dimensions of intangible cultural heritage safeguarding. The next meeting of the committee will take place in December 2026 in China. Sebiaru ceremonies are underway in the central Turkish city of Konya, marking the 752nd anniversary of the passing of Hazreti Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi, a 13th century poet and mystic whose teachings continue to resonate far beyond Turkey's borders. The annual commemoration, which began on December the 7th, attracts visitors, scholars, and spiritual seekers from around the world, reflecting Rumi's enduring global influence. Recognized internationally as a powerful expression of spiritual devotion, Sema has become one of the most widely known symbols of Sufi culture. Its universal message of love, tolerance, and unity has helped it transcend religious and cultural boundaries, drawing global attention each year. In an era of global uncertainty, the ritual's emphasis on inner peace and human connection continues to speak to audiences worldwide. The Sebiaru ceremonies not only honor Rumi's legacy but also highlight Konya's role as a global meeting point for intercultural dialogue, reinforcing how centuries-old spiritual traditions remain relevant in the modern world. Towering waves off the coast of Portugal have thrilled crowds as Nazaré hosted the first major event of the giant wave season, drawing thousands of spectators to the world-famous break. Massive swells pounded Praia do Norte, creating dramatic conditions for the highly anticipated big wave challenge. Brazilian surfer Lucas Chianca delivered a standout performance, claiming a record fifth victory in what is regarded as the most prestigious XXL competition in a big wave surfing. In the women's field, Frances Justine Dupont posted the top performance of the event, once again underlining her status as one of the sport's leading big wave surfers. The event marked a dramatic opening to Nazaré's giant wave season, reinforcing the Portugal coastal town's reputation as a global hub for extreme surfing and a magnet for both elite athletes and wave-watching crowds. The arid Dauka Valley in southern Oman is home to one of the country's most treasured natural resources, frankincense trees, whose aromatic resin has been harvested for millennia. Local residents describe the resin as historically a fundamental and important resource equivalent to oil today, reflecting its long-standing cultural and economic significance. Frankincense from Dhofar was once a cornerstone of international trade, reaching markets across Egypt, Rome, India, and beyond. Today, while Oman's economy is dominated by oil, frankincense remains culturally and economically important to local communities. Authorities and conservationists are now working to protect the trees from over-harvesting and climate pressures, ensuring the survival of a resource that has shaped the region's identity for thousands of years. The Argentine football star Lionel Messi is in India for his GOAT India tour with Inter Miami teammates Luis Suarez and Rodrigo de Paul. The global sports icon will attend an event at the iconic Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai and participate in a philanthropic fashion showcase alongside Uruguay football star Luis Suarez and Argentine teammate Rodrigo de Paul. The final leg of the tour takes him to Delhi, bringing an end to his 3-day visit. He kick-started his GOAT India tour from Kolkata on Saturday. The 8 times Ballon d'Or award holder also virtually unveiled his 70-foot-tall iron statue with Bollywood star Shah Rukh Khan present at the event. After Kolkata, Messi, along with Inter Miami teammates Suarez and Rodrigo de Paul, arrived in Hyderabad. The trio spent an hour on the pitch at the Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium, delighting the crowd. Messi, Suarez, and de Paul played football together and had a fun football kickabout with some of the younger players. The global star, along with fellow mates Suarez and de Paul, sent a special message to the crowd, thanking them for their love and affection. Christmas illuminations have lit up Hong Kong's Central District as a large-scale festive light show opens for the holiday season. The display features synchronized projections, LED animations, and holographic effects cast across 8 landmark buildings, transforming the city's financial heart into a vibrant Christmas spectacle. The nightly show uses advanced projection mapping to animate iconic facades with seasonal imagery, including snowflakes, festive characters, and colorful light patterns. Nearby streets and public spaces are also decorated, creating an immersive atmosphere that draws residents, office workers, and tourists. Organizers say the event is designed to boost holiday cheer and encourage evening foot traffic in the district, which is traditionally quieter after office hours. The illuminations will run throughout the Christmas and New Year period, adding to Hong Kong's wider program of seasonal celebrations and reinforcing the city's reputation for large-scale urban light displays.
A city known for its legacy, Kirtipur. Locals also call it Kipu in their own dialect. It is the largest ancient settlement after Kathmandu, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur. The city still has an impressive Malla era neighborhood. It is also home to Taudaha, the largest lake in the Kathmandu Valley. There are temples, monasteries, bihars, and stupas for both Hindu and Buddhist devotees, along with countless festivals and ritual celebrations that altogether give Kirtipur its distinct and special character. With its ancient Newar settlements, this place is a beautiful convergence of Newar culture and heritage. The 2nd century settlements here, the temples and the stupas, along with the legends and the faiths surrounding them, are fascinating. Situated beside the Kathmandu Valley, which once was a natural lake itself, Kirtipur developed as a flourishing hub of early settlement and culture. Because of this, the area is exceptionally valuable for historical and cultural study. A long time ago, the children of Kirtipur's farming families apparently made a clay tiger to play with while herding sheep and goats. To make that tiger look even more lifelike, they wanted to add a tongue. So they left their sheep and goats nearby and went into the forest to gather leaves. Upon returning, the children found their sheep and goats missing. And when they investigated, the clay tiger opened its blood-red mouth and claimed to have eaten the animals. Apparently, what had happened was that the deity Bhairav, a Hindu deity, had entered the clay tiger. In their anger, the children then cursed the clay tiger so that its mouth would remain perpetually open. This is the famous legend behind the Bagh Bhairav temple as remembered by the residents of Kirtipur. Bagh Bhairav is the revered deity of Kirtipur's residents. Situated in Kirtipur, this temple is accompanied by several smaller temples, many of which can be traced back to the 2nd century according to the historical records. Among them are temples dedicated to Yamaleshwar, Narayan, Bhavani Shankar, Ramchandra, Manavinayak, Vishwakarma, Sridhar Vishnu and Mool Ganesh, all of which were constructed in the 2nd century as per many inscriptions. The historical records mention that the Bagh Bhairav temple, originally made by Shivadev, was again renovated in the 16th century by Jagatpal Varma into a 3-tiered pagoda style. This makes the temple a central attraction of Kirtipur. Most Newar settlements, which are one of Nepal's ethnic groups, are adorned with temples and stupas. So Kirtipur is home to countless temples and stupas as well, too many to count by hand. The Uma Maheshwar temple here is located at the highest point in Kirtipur. From here, one can take in panoramic views of the entire Kathmandu Valley. Swayambhu, an ancient Buddhist stupa, is clearly visible from this vantage point. It is said that the temple's elevation is roughly the same as that of Swayambhu's. On clear days, the world's highest peak, Mount Everest, can also be seen from here. Uma Maheshwar, representing the Hindu deities of Shiva and Parvati in another form, is considered a symbol of family happiness and love. The temple's tiered roofs, its design, the surrounding houses, and the views are not only beautiful but also reflect its historical significance. It is an excellent place to explore and spend an entire day. Kirtipur is special not only for Hindu devotees but also for Buddhists. Its stupas and vihars are ideal for the study, research, and promotion of Buddhism. The Chilancho Stupa, located atop the hill, is said by historians to have been built during Emperor Ashok's visit to Nepal. Its renovation, however, took place in the 16th century during the time of Jagatpal Varma. This site is ideal for prayer and meditation. It feels like Chilancho spreads wisdom along with its fluttering flags under the open sky. It is said that seeing the hills surrounding the Chilancho Stupa, Prithvi Narayan Shaha, the 18th century king who unified Nepal, coveted Kirtipur. His attempts to capture Kirtipur, intended to make conquering Kathmandu, Bhaktapur and Patan easier, only succeeded on the third try.
किर्तिपुरको चाहिँ लोकेसनै अलिकति स्ट्रेटेजिकली एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण लोकेसनमा छ हैन किनभने किर्तिपुर अब पृथ्वीनारायण शाहलाई पनि के लाग्यो भने किर्तिपुर यो डाँडाकोमा छ डाँडामाथि छ डाँडामा चाहिँ एउटा त्यति बेला चाहिँ किल्लाको रूपमा पनि थियो हैन त्यो भएको नालले चाहिँ किर्तिपुर जित्यो भने अरु चाहिँ सजिलै जित्न सकिन्छ भन्ने खालको पृथ्वीनारायण शाह पनि लागेको थियो हैन त्यसले गर्दाखेरि उले चाहिँ काठमाडौँ भ्यालीलाई वा काठमाडौँ यो जुन तीनवटा शहर र यो भ्यालीलाई आफ्नो कन्ट्रोलमा राख्न गाडी सबभन्दा पहिला किर्तिपुरमा कन्ट्रोल लिन सक्यो भने यहाँबाट चाहिँ अनि चाहिँ अरुलाई अरु एरियामा चाहिँ सजिलैसँग कन्ट्रोलमा लिन सकिन्छ भन्ने हिसाबले चाहिँ उले चाहिँ यसलाई चाहिँ टार्गेट बनाएको हो एउटा कुरा त यो स्ट्रेटेजिकली उचाइमा परेको हुनाले र यसमा पनि यहाँको कोर बस्ती भनेको चाहिँ डाँडाबाट माथि आउनु पर्ने र त्यति बेला तपाईले सुन्न भए पनि होला किर्तिपुर चाहिँ पुरा गढ पर्खालले घेरिएको थियो त्यो घेरिएको हुनु र चाहिँ त्यहाँ चाहिँ 12 वटा ढोकाहरू चाहिँ थियो र 12 वटा ढोकाबाट मात्र प्रवेश गर्न सकिने त्यस्तो भएको हुनाले चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ स्ट्रेटेजिकली एउटा चाहिँ यो कोर्टको रूपमा वा चाहिँ गढको रूपमा चाहिँ विकास भएको पाइन्छ फर्स्ट वारमा चाहिँ कालुपाँडे चाहिँ बर्ड भयो कालुपाँडे मार्यो त्यसपछि चाहिँ के भनाइ छ भने किर्तिपुरहरूले चाहिँ कालुपाँडेको टाउको बोकेर हैन त्यहाँ चाहिँ जात्रा गरेको हामी जित्यौं भनेर जात्रा गर्यो भन्ने छ अब त्यो हिस्टोरिकली छ कतिको फ्याक्ट थाहा छैन त्यसले गरेर त्यो भनेको चाहिँ त्यो पनि अब त्यो रिस्क त छ नि पृथ्वीनारायण शाहलाई अनि अर्को के छ भने सेकेन्ड वारमा चाहिँ फेरि चाहिँ आफ्नै भाइको चाहिँ आँखा फुटिएको छ हैन त्यसरी दुई पल्ट चाहिँ उले चाहिँ एकदमै हार त्यो पनि हार पनि एकदमै हार मात्र हैन त्यो अब कालुपाँडेको टाउको बोकेर हैन पुरा खुसियालले मनाउनु भनेको त्यसले गरेर चाहिँ एकदमै त्यो ह्युमिलिएट भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि पछि जब उ सत्तामा आयो भए चाहिँ जब उले कन्ट्रोलमा लियो उले चाहिँ बर्बर तरिकाले नै यो किर्तिपुरहरूलाई पनि दुःख दिनुपर्छ भनेर दुःख दिएकै हो.
This stupa houses the Pancha Buddha, the depiction of 5 knowledge of Buddha. Facing east is Akshobhya, mounted on an elephant and with earth-touching gestures. Facing south is Ratnasambhav, mounted on a horse and showing the Varad Mudra, which is a gesture of generosity and granting boons. Facing north is Amitabh, seated on a peacock in the meditation mudra, symbolizing infinite light and compassion. Facing west is Amogha, seated on a Garud with the Nag hood in Abhay Mudra, a gesture of fearlessness and protection. At the center sits Vairochan, mounted on a lion and invisible, imparting profound knowledge of Buddhism. The presence of these 5 Buddhas is believed to guide those who have lost their way, whether it is in spiritual seeking or in travel. The stupas, vajras, and stone statues here are enchanting, capable of captivating visitors for hours. In Panga of Kirtipur, there is a cremation site. The deceased of the Panga community are cremated here, but this place is different from others. According to local tradition, one cannot stay behind after setting the body on fire. Normally in other places in Hindu tradition, after the cremation, the ashes are collected after a process that can take up to hours. Here, however, bodies are covered with 9 pieces of wood for adults and 7 for children, along with water-soaked straw. Then the fire is lit before it is time to leave the site. This tradition is only for the people of Panga. Next to the burial ground stands the Vishnu Devi temple, one of the several Shakti Peeth or sacred power sites of the people of Kirtipur. The area is peaceful and known for its spiritual atmosphere. Kirtipur is not only famous for its monasteries and chaityas, it is also rich in history and culture. This place is known for its year-round festivals, rituals, and vibrant cultural way of life. Among the important festivals are the Satgaunle Jatra, Gai Jatra, Bagh Bhairav Jatra, and Indrayani Jatra. On the day of Gai Jatra, a special dance is performed here. The Dhya Dhya Papa dance, also called Katmar, is a ceremonial performance where dancers in unique costumes move to traditional music. It is an integral part of Kirtipur's cultural identity. Here, visitors can also find various hotels, homestays, and Newari restaurants. The Newari-style houses and pathways decorated with traditional materials are truly captivating, and the popular Newari restaurants, which draw people from all around, are plentiful. A beautiful example of Newari culture is Newari food, which include famous dishes like bara, yomari, and samay bhaji. And visitors relish these dishes with great enjoyment.
अनि अरु भनेको यो सपु मिजा सफुमिजा पनि विशेष मान्छेले रुचाउने समय बजी बारा विभिन्न मान्छे पछि फरक छ तर विशेष चाहिँ समय बजी सफुमिजा भेर आउनुहुन्छ अनि छाङ रक्सी विशेष यहाँको गहना जस्तै नै नेवालानामा यहाँको छाङ रक्सी भनेको एकदमै ओरिजिनल हैन ओरिजिनालिटी भएर चाहिँ मान्छेहरू यहाँको खानामा या छाङ रक्सीमा पनि कुनै मिसावट नभएको चाहिँ प्रुफ भएर चाहिँ सबै मान्छे छाङ खानाको लागि पनि आउनुहुन्छ समय बजीमा अब 12 थरी छन् हैन त्यो पनि हाम्रो शरीरको अर्गानिकमा सबै ठाउँमा चाहिँ सबैमा चाहिने हामी यो विशेष हाम्रो चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ के भनौँ शुभ दिनमा चाहिँ हामी यो पूजा सजा गरेर समयपछि खाने चलन छ भने यो खाली पेटमा हैन त्यो भनेको एउटा राम्रो स्वास्थ्यको लागि एकदमै राम्रो समय बजी भयो अनि भोज चाहिँ हाम्रो एकदमै वैज्ञानिकता हैन अब एकदमै राम्रो तरिकाले चाहिँ नेवारी भोज चाहिँ खुवाउने गर्छौँ हामी विशेष यो यहाँदेखि यो पाचन शक्तिलाई पनि एकदमै ध्यानमा राखेर चाहिँ यो पछि यो भनेर तातो चिसो मिलाएर चाहिँ अन्त्यसम्म चाहिँ खुवाउने चाहिँ एकदमै शरीरको लागि चाहिँ साइन्टिफिक प्रुफ नै छ क्या हाम्रो खानामा चाहिँ
Just before entering Kirtipur, you arrive at another beautiful spot, Taudaha. Known for its environmental, cultural, and religious significance, this pond stretches about 500 meters in length and 400 meters in width. It is said to be shaped like a funnel. Believed to be dwelling place of Karkotak Nag, a serpent king in Hindu-Buddhist mythology, this lake is closely linked to the legends of Manjushri, a Hindu-Buddhist mythological figure, and the Rato Machindranath Jatra. According to the folklore, when the Kathmandu Valley was still a lake, Manjushri cut open the hills to draw the water. The serpents living there were left without a home, so Bhimsen, a powerful heroic figure in Nepali folklore, created Taudaha to shelter them. The famous photo or vest displayed during the Rato Machindranath Jatra also traces its origins to Karkotak Nagraj and Taudaha. Legend says the vest belonged to Karkotak Nagraj, who gifted it to a farmer after the farmer cured his sick serpent queen.
हाम्रो भ्याली चाहिँ एउटा लेक थियो भन्ने चाहिँ छ अनि त्यो लेक हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ अब मञ्जुश्री चाहिँ आइपुग्नु भयो यो काठमाडौँ भ्यालीमा अनि उहाँले चाहिँ अब यहाँ चाहिँ तपाईको मानव बस्ती बसाउँछु भनेर एउटा सोच राख्नुभयो त्यो क्रममा चाहिँ तपाईको जुन एउटा भ्याली चाहिँ लेक थियो अनि त्यसपछि त्यहाँ तपाईको बीचमा एउटा कमलको फूल थियो अनि त्यसबाट चाहिँ स्वयम्भूनाथ चाहिँ स्थापना भयो भनेर चाहिँ हाम्रो त्यसलाई रिलेट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अनि तपाईको मञ्जुश्रीले चाहिँ यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ मानव बस्ती बसाउनको लागि तपाईको यो चोबार हाम्रो चोबारको गलछेडो चाहिँ काट्नु भयो अनि त्यसपछि त्यो कमलको फूल चाहिँ तपाईको स्वयम्भू भयो अनि त्यसपछि त्यो गलछेडोबाट चाहिँ तपाईको अब सबै पानी सँगसँगै पानीमा हुने सबै चीज बगेर जाने भयो अनि त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको नागहरू पनि त्यसमा पर्यो अनि नाग चाहिँ तपाईको त्यो नाग गएपछि चाहिँ अब यो पानी नपर्ने खडेरी लाग्ने तपाईको विभिन्न हिस्ट्री किम्वदन्ती अनुसार तपाईको अनि त्यो हुन्छ भनेर चाहिँ हाम्रो कर्कोटक नाग राजालाई चाहिँ तपाईको यहाँ ल्याएर चाहिँ मञ्जुश्रीले स्थापना गर्नुभयो भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा किम्वदन्ती छ मसिन्द्रनाथ चाहिँ तपाईको पानीको देवता भनेर पनि चिन्छौँ हामीले पानीको लागि चाहिँ मसिन्द्रनाथको पूजा गर्ने यो हाम्रो जात्रा गर्ने यो चाहिँ तपाईको त्योसँग भयो अनि प्लस तपाईको त्यो जुन मसिन्द्रनाथको तपाईको फोटो चाहिँ जुन फोटो चाहिँ त्यो जात्रामा देखाइन्छ त्यो फोटो पनि हाम्रो यहाँको नागले चाहिँ तपाईको दिनुभएको भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा किम्वदन्ती छ त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको यहाँको नागको चाहिँ तपाईको एउटा किसानले चाहिँ उपचार गरिदिनु भएको थियो आँखाको अनि त्यो उपचार गरिदिएपछि चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको एउटा गिफ्ट यो फोटो चाहिँ तपाईलाई भनेर किसानलाई दिनुभएको थियो र त्यो किसान चाहिँ तपाईको काम गर्दा गर्दै खेतमा बारीमा एउटा काम गर्दा गर्दै तपाईको त्यो भोटो राखेर तपाईको काम गरिरहँदाखेरि चाहिँ एउटा भूतले चाहिँ तपाईको त्यो भोटो चोरेर लग्यो अरे अनि त्यसपछि त्यो भोटो चाहिँ तपाईको चोरेर लाँदाखेरि अनि फेरि त्यो खोज्दाखेरि अब कहीँ पत्ता लागेन अनि एक दिन चाहिँ यही जात्रामा तपाईको जात्रामा गइराख्दाखेरि चाहिँ तपाईको त्यो भोटो लगाएर आएको चाहिँ देखेर त्यो किसानले अनि मेरो भोटो भनेर त्यहाँ अब वार भयो भनौँ न अनि त्यसपछि त्यो भोटो चाहिँ अनि त्यसपछि त्यहाँ जस मछिन्द्रनाथले चाहिँ लिएर यो चाहिँ प्रमाण जसले ल्याउन सक्छ भोटोको मेरो हो भनेर उसैको हुन्छ यो भोटो भनेर चाहिँ तपाईको त्यो मछिन्द्रनाथको जात्रामा चाहिँ हाम्रो त्यो भोटो देखाउने चलन छ र त्यसलाई चाहिँ त्यसरी रिलेटेड छ यो चाहिँ हामीसँग
Taudaha is rich not only in religious and cultural significance but also in biodiversity. The area is home to 38 species of plants, 36 species of insects and 116 types of birds. Swans gliding across the lake, birds perched in nearby trees, colorful fish swimming below, and small snakes seen occasionally along the banks. All of it make it easy to lose track of time while observing this vibrant ecosystem. In winter, birds migrate here from Siberia, Mongolia, and Tibet to escape the cold. Species such as lahari, kalihas, khoya, malak, and birds like great cormorant and Indian pond heron are also found here at Taudaha. These migratory birds travel thousands of kilometers from various countries to reach this lake. As a wetland area, Taudaha hosts water, land, vegetation, aquatic animals, amphibians, and other wildlife all in one place. For this reason, the lake attracts everyone from casual tourists to students conducting research.
स्वदेशी पर्यटकहरू चाहिँ महिनामा मैले भन्नुपर्दा एभरेजमा भन्छु हैन 10 देखि 15,000 सम्म आउनुहुन्छ विदेशी पर्यटकहरू पनि आउनुहुन्छ 500 देखि महिनामा 1000 सम्म आन्तरिक पर्यटकहरू आउनुहुन्छ अनि हाम्रो यो पुस माघ जुन जाडो सिजन हुन्छ नि त्यसमा चाहिँ बच्चाहरूको यो शैक्षिक भ्रमणमा आउने बच्चाहरू चाहिँ धेरै त्यो सिजनमा चाहिँ धेरै बच्चाहरू ल्याउनुहुन्छ अनि अघि पछि पनि हाम्रो शैक्षिक भ्रमणमा बच्चाहरू स्कुलबाट पनि आउनुहुन्छ अनि प्लस यो अब कलेजका विद्यार्थीहरू जुन इन्भाइरोमेन्ट साइन्स पढ्ने विद्यार्थीहरू हुन्छन् हैन त्यस्ताहरू पनि अब यो पानीको माछाको इनेरको पनि रिसर्च गर्न पनि विद्यार्थीहरू आउनुहुन्छ यहाँ नेपालीलाई चाहिँ पर पर्सन 30 रुपैयाँ छ विदेशीलाई 50 रुपैयाँ अनि हाम्रो जुन स्कुल कलेजबाट शैक्षिक भ्रमणमा आउनुहुन्छ नि उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ हामीले 50% डिस्काउन्ट दिन्छौँ
As tourist numbers increase, so have vendors selling fish feed around Taudaha. These traders who stay around the lake from morning to evening occasionally also encounter snakes. But believing the snakes to represent Karkotak Nagraj, the traders drive them away by just burning incense.
बिहान 10 बजेतिर आउँछु अनि 5 बजेसम्म बस्छु अब कहिले 10 किलो निस्किदिन्छ कहिले 5 किलो कहिले अब यस्तै 1-2 किलो मात्रै जान्छ म बसेको चाहिँ भयो 14 वर्ष भयो अब पहिला भनेको व्यापार त्यति हुन्थेन अब अहिले भनेको जस बिहान बेलुका खानालाई चाहिँ पुग्छ दिनको कहिले 1000-1200 नि हुन्छ कहिले 2000-2500 नि हुन्छ कहिले 1-200 हुन्छ कहिले 20 रुपैयाँ मात्रै नि हुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ हुँदैन जस सँगाली राख्दाखेरि महिनामा 8-10 हजार चाहिँ हुन्छ परारको साल कताबाट सर्व आए देखिन मैले हैन पछि चाहिँ मेरो डडालामा आइपुग्या त्यो सर्व अनि म डडै मैले आँखा चिम्ली अनि सुल्ल आफै सर्व चाहिँ उता तलतिर गयो पहरीतिरै
Just before reaching Taudaha, Chobar is a unique tourist spot in Kirtipur. Manjushri Park here is one of the popular picnic destinations. The cave, Chobar Gorge, Suspension Bridge, Dalvinayak Temple and Adinath Lokeshwar Temple are all must-visit sites. This gorge is said to be where Manjushri cut the hills to drain water from the Kathmandu Valley. making it suitable for human settlement. Therefore, this place holds historical and mythological significance. Jalvinayak Temple is located along the Bagmati River. Among Kathmandu Valley's 4 main Ganesh temples, Surya Vinayak, Chandra Vinayak, and Ashok Vinayak, Jalvinayak is one of them. It is built in traditional pagoda style. Toran or archways, tudal or roof struts, and gajur or pinnacles enhance its architectural beauty. So this temple is significant both for religious faith and for historical and architectural value. Spread over 14.76 square kilometers, Kirtipur has many places to explore, which cannot be fully visited in a single day. Its heritage, lifestyle, and festivals are all unique. To guide tourists before visiting, a tourist information and service center has been established. It lies near the Kirtipur's entry point. This center provides information about major tourist attractions and helps make the visit easier. Exploring Kirtipur's historical, religious, cultural, and natural sites is incredibly enchanting. These sites are witnesses to history. For research and study, visiting Kirtipur is essential. The local lifestyle, daily life, the breeze, and the scent of the soil here, all of it are very special. In modern times, as ancient civilizations threaten to vanish, Kirtipur strives to maintain its ancient identity. Its monasteries, temples, chaityas, ponds, markets, and even the language reflect this heritage. Kirtipur is not just a tourist destination. It offers experiences of meditation and knowledge, and of peace and beauty. Its stories and hospitality attract everyone. To witness and feel the unique confluence of history, culture, and nature, visiting Kirtipur is a must, not just once, but again and again.
Trimmed mustache, mirrored shades, and an unmistakable smile, Tenzing Norgay Sherpa climbs a steep hill in Khumbu. It's May 1991. After 38 years, he's returning to meet his old climbing partner, Sir Edmund Hillary, the man with whom he first stood atop the world.
Tenzing, good to see you. My goodness. Yeah. Hi, Dickie. How are you? Nice to meet you. Yeah. Long time, good to see you. Yes, certainly. Did you have a good walk up? Very well. Good. Fine.
Sagarmatha, head of the sky. Chomolungma, the mother goddess of the world, or simply Mount Everest. A mountain with many names, yet for generations it meant only one thing, the impossible. Since the 1920s, climbers from around the world had tried to conquer it. Many never returned. Avalanches, storms, frostbite, the mountain refused them all. Then on 29 May 1953, Edmund Hillary of New Zealand and Tenzing Norgay Sherpa of Nepal stood together on top of the world. The world woke up to the headline, Everest is conquered.
This is the BBC Home Service. Here is the news. Mount Everest has been conquered by members of the British expedition. The news reached London in a message to the Times. It said that Mr. E.P. Hillary, a New Zealander, and Tenzing Bhutia, a Sherpa, had reached the summit last Friday, May 29th.
Among the 35 men in the team that made history was Kancha Sherpa, the last surviving member of that expedition. He passed away in October 2025. He remembered the climb as hard but joyful.
समुल्लोंगमु बना हामीले सुनेको छ हामी के काममा जाने त्यहाँ जाने कामै थिएन अब यहाँको मान्छेहरू चाहिँ तल लोबेजसम्म बस्छ त्यहाँबाट त हामी जाने कामै छैन अनि तेन्जिङहरू त हेरेर आएर पो माथि एभरेस्ट चाहिँ हामीले थाहा पायो नभए हाम्रो गाउँै भए पनि हामीले के जाने कामै छैन गाह्रो भयो हजुर मलाई गाह्रो त के जानु नस्याङ्ने के अब कहिले पनि जस्तो काम गरेको छैन त पनि त बारी बोकेर त खरबासमा जानु पर्यो यहाँ हातमा डोरहरू समाउनु पर्यो यहाँ आइसाक समाउनु पर्यो यहाँ बारी थुप्रो बोकेर जानु पर्यो अनि त साँगोमा जानु पर्यो अनि माथि जुल्रेर जानु पर्यो अनि गाह्रो त एकदम गाह्रो छ तर यस्तो काम पाएर धेरै खुसी भयो नि
Hillary loved Khumbu and Khumbu loved Hillary. He dedicated his life for the region and its people. In the decades that followed, Everest became a symbol of determination, not just for men, but for everyone who dared to dream. In 1993, Pasang Lamu Sherpa became the first Nepali woman to stand on the summit. Her journey was marked by courage and struggle.
पैसा हुनु पर्यो यसमा आफूले लगानी गरेर खर्च गर्नु पर्यो राइट तिर्नु पर्यो अब आफूले सँगै लानु गुरुबहरुलाई चाहिँ खानाहरु हुनु पर्यो लुगाहरु एकै महिनाको पैसाहरु हुनु पर्यो त्यसकारणले चाहिँ यो पैसाकोले नि पैसाकै समस्याले गर्दाखेरि पनि अगाडि बढ्न नसकेको हो तर यहाँ एउटा ट्रेनिङको महिलाहरुलाई चाहिँ यो माउन्टेन भ्याली क्षेत्रमा एउटा ट्रेनिङको व्यवस्था बन्दोबस्त पनि त्यति साह्रो राम्रो छैन.
For some, the climb is a personal test. For others, it's a way to uplift an entire nation. Of the many record holders from Nepal, Apa Sherpa, who's also known as the Super Sherpa, had reached the summit 21 times before announcing his retirement.
म यो रेकर्डको लागि चल्ने भए त म आज पनि चल्न सकिन्छु नि तर म रेकर्डको लागि होइन मैले हाम्रो देशको लागि हाम्रो राष्ट्रको लागि माथि पहिले सुरुवातमा त आफ्नो पेसा भनौँ न अब पुरा नै हाम्रो राष्ट्रको लागि भनौँ पहिले सुरुवातमा त आफ्नो पेसाको हो तर त्यो लास्टमा म चढिरह्यो भने त्यो त तपाईँको उस जस्तो देखिन्छ कि कम्पिटिसन जस्तो देखिन्छ कि मलाई त्यो मेरो चाहिँ नि त्यो कम्पिटिसन होइन र म राष्ट्रको लागि हो त्यसैले मैले अब 2011 देखि मैले सन्यास लिएर अपा शेर्पा फाउन्डेसन खोलेर शिक्षा सबभन्दा इम्पोर्टेन्ट चाहिँ के छ हाम्रो शिक्षा एजुकेसन छैन भने हामीलाई धेरै गाह्रो छ मैले खैराहरूले पनि भन्दैछु विदाउट एजुकेसन वी हेभ नो चोइस एजुकेसन इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ त्यसपछि हाम्रो वातावरण त्यसैले हाम्रो नेपालको लागि म त्यो दुईवटालाई जोडेर मैले सपोर्ट गरिरहेको छु.
Over time, the story of Everest has changed. Each climbing season now brings not only adventurers, but also income and impact. In 2024, Everest generated nearly 676 million Nepali rupees, almost 80% of Nepal's total mountaineering revenue. The fee for foreign climbers has been revised now to $15,000 each. So far, more than 8,000 summiteers of different nationalities have climbed Mount Everest. Many more aspire to reach the top of the world. To ease the pressure on Everest and promote other regions, the government of Nepal has opened 97 peaks that range from 5,970 meters to 7,123. One can climb these mountains in the Western Karnali and Sudur Pashchim provinces without having to pay royalties. As voices increase for the need of having summited at least one mountain over 7,000 meters in the country before bidding for the Everest, these 97 peaks are likely to be training ground for summiteers. With success, Everest has also seen a heavy burden. In 2023 alone, more than 75 tons of waste were collected from the Everest region. This included plastic, metal, oxygen bottles, and even human waste. The mountain has also been plagued by fatal climbing attempts.
यसपालिको भन्दाखेरि त अब लास्ट इयरको पनि मरेको लासहरू अझै पनि छन् माथि बाटोमै पनि त्यो लासहरू देखे हामीले यो 8,300-400 मिटरमा बाल्कुनीमा त्यो लासहरू पनि अझै भइरहेछ र फोहोरहरू पनि सजकलमा पनि टन्नै फोहोरहरू छ। पहिला हामीले अब शहरमा त आरोग्य सङ्घले पनि 2011 मा सफा त गर्यो, त्यत्रो फोहोर ल्याए 10 टन फोहोर पनि धेरै नै ल्याएको त्यतिखेर। त्यति ल्याउँदा पनि अझै फोहोरहरू चाहिँ एकदमै छ भनौँ न। टाइममा अब राज्यले चाहिँ किन त्यसलाई चाहिँ अलिकति व्यवस्था के अब कुन हिसाबले हुन्छ त्यो फोहोरलाई अलिकति तल ल्याएर अलिकति सफा गर्यो भने एभरेस्टको लागि अलिकति विदेशीहरुको लागि अलि राम्रो होला कि भन्ने चाहिँ हामीलाई लागेको छ।
Sagarmatha has taught the world to dream higher, but now she asks us to care deeper. The greatest climb perhaps isn't upward, but inward. "70 years since the first ascent, much has changed, but one thing has and will remain constant. Everest has and will continue to stand tall and keep challenging human abilities."
प्राकृतिक, धार्मिक तथा सांस्कृतिक रूपमा धनी शैलुङमा तपाईलाई हार्दिक स्वागत छ। यहाँको भौगोलिक इतिहास निकै आश्चर्य लाग्दो छ। प्रथम बुद्ध साङ्गेले स्वर्गबाट झरेर प्रवचन दिनुभएकाले पहिले यस ठाउँलाई साङ्गेलुङ भनिन्थ्यो। पछि अपभ्रंश भएर शैलुङ भनिएको हो। यस ठाउँमा 5औं बुद्ध पद्मशम्भ बाएर लामो समय तपस्या गर्नुभएको किम्वदन्ती छ। हिन्दू धर्मको कहावत अनुसार पहिला ऋषि मुनिहरू यहाँ आएर तपस्या गर्थे। कलियुग सुरु भएपछि पाप देख्न नपरोस् भनेर प्रत्येक ठाउँमा ऋषि मुनि अलग भए र यी ठाउँमा थुम्का निस्किए। तपाई हामी अहिले यस्ता 108 वटा भन्दा बढी अवलोकन गर्न सक्छौं। यदि तपाईँ यी थुम्कामा पुग्नुभयो भने त्यहाँबाट नेपालका 60% हिम श्रृङ्खला हेरेर आनन्द लिन सक्नुहुन्छ। महालङ्गुर, रोलबालिङ, अन्नपूर्ण हिम श्रृङ्खलाहरू तपाईलाई हेरेर चम्किनेछन्। सैलुङले सिजन नै पछि आफ्नो रूप फेर्छ। तपाईँ हिउँदमा आउनुभयो भने हिउँसित खेल्न सक्नुहुन्छ। चैत वैशाखमा आउनुभयो भने गुराँससित मेतेरी लगाउन सक्नुहुन्छ। सैलुङमा तपाईँ 100 भन्दा बढी जडीबुटीको अध्ययन गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ। चौरी डुलाउने प्रचलित ठाउँ पनि हो यो। यदि तपाईँ सावाखर्क भन्ने ठाउँमा बिहान पुग्नु भयो भने अवश्य चौरी गाई देख्न सक्नुहुन्छ। चौरी गोठमा पोसिलो चौरीको दुध पिउँदाको आनन्द अनि यहाँको छुर्पी तपाईँ अवश्य बिर्सनुहुन्न। लेकाली भेग भएकाले यहाँको अन्नबालीमा पनि विविधता देख्न सकिन्छ। 6 महिना लगाएर फल्ने यहाँका आलु मुडे लगिन्छ। यहाँबाट प्रचलित मुडेको आलु तपाईँ कहाँ आइपुग्छ। सैलुङको सांस्कृतिक विविधता पनि तपाईलाई रोचक लाग्ला। यहाँ बहुजातीय समाज छ। तामाङ, मगर, गुरुङ, छेत्री, बाहुन, थामी, नेवार आदिको मिश्रित समाजमा तपाईले मानिसहरू मिलेर गाउँ विकास गरेको देख्न सक्नुहुन्छ। अझै तपाईलाई साहसिक खेल मन पर्छ भने यहाँका गुफाहरूले तपाईलाई पर्खिरहेका छन्। यस्तो रोमाञ्चक ठाउँ काठमाडौँबाट 120 किलोमिटर दूरीमा मात्र छ। तपाईँ काठमाडौँबाट धुरीखेल, दोलालघाट, खाडी चौर, मुडे हुँदै दोलखाको यो रमणीय स्थल पुग्न सक्नुहुन्छ। खान बस्नका लागि यहाँका आधुनिक होटलहरू र हिँड्न डुल्नका लागि बनाइएका फराकिलो बाटोले तपाईलाई पर्खिरहेका छन्। सैलुङमा तपाईलाई फेरि पनि स्वागत छ।
मुन्डीमा नाना भाइ सिरोगामी, मुन्डीमा नाना भाइ सिरोगामी।
Youth presence grows at UML Congress, but proposal on 5% Central Committee quota raises questions on real power. Nepal marks Parliament Service Day for the first time in 24 years without an elected parliament or government. At least 12 killed in targeted mass shooting at Bondi Beach in Australia. Authorities label attack as anti-Semitic terrorism. Zelensky arrives Berlin for high-stakes talks with European leaders and Trump envoys on Ukraine war. Thailand imposes curfew as fighting with Cambodia escalates despite ceasefire plea from the US. And Chandra Bahadur Thapa makes history with bronze at IBA Men's World Boxing Championship 2025, given a warm welcome on his return. Hello there, I'm Shivani Thapa Bosneth here on NTV World News Hour. We are coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepali time. Let's move on to the details now. Youth presence grows at Yamal Congress, but 5% Central Committee quota proposal has raised questions on real power sharing. Nepal's largest communist party, the CPN Yamal, has proposed amending its statute to reserve 5% of seats in its Central Committee for youth representatives. But the move is drawing criticism, with many inside and outside the party saying it falls short of expectations for real generational change. As the Yamal's 11th National Congress enters closed-door deliberations, around 400 of the 2,262 delegates are under the age of 40. While youth presence is visible on the Congress floor, their influence at the top remains limited. Even with an expanded 301-member Central Committee, younger leaders are largely absent from the powerful 19-member office bearers panel as factional contests dominate the leadership race. With a membership of over 600,000, the question now facing the Yamal is whether a 5% youth representation proposal signals reform or a missed opportunity for leadership renewal. We shall look deeper into this in our Issue of the Day segment later in the bulletin. For the first time in 24 years, Nepal is observing Parliament Service Day without an elected parliament or without a functioning parliament and an elected government. The day marked by the Federal Parliament Secretariat comes at a time when legislative activity remains suspended, highlighting an unusual institutional vacuum in the country's democratic process. Officials say the observance is meant to underscore the continuity and resilience of parliamentary institutions, even in the absence of elected representatives. As Nepal navigates this transitional phase, the occasion has renewed debate on democratic accountability and the timely restoration of parliamentary governance. More in our cover story tonight. For now, we check out other headliners of the day. At least 12 people have been killed in a mass shooting at Bondi Beach in Australia, in what authorities describe as a targeted attack on the Jewish community. New South Wales police say the shooting occurred during a public event marking the start of Hanukkah, attended by more than 1,000 people. 29 others, including a child, have been taken to hospital. Police have deployed a bomb disposal unit after discovering a vehicle believed to contain multiple improvised explosive devices.
Attack was designed to target Sydney's Jewish community on the first day of Hanukkah. What should have been a night of peace and joy celebrated in that community with families and supporters has been shattered by this horrifying evil attack. Commissioner Lanyon will speak about the investigation, the police response, as well as the designation of this attack as a terrorism event in Sydney. I can assure the community it will be met with a massive, comprehensive police and public order response.
That was New South Wales Premier Chris Minns talking to the press following the incident earlier today. Moving ahead, Zelensky has arrived Berlin for high-stakes talks with European leaders and Trump envoys on Ukrainian war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has arrived in Berlin for 2 days of intensive talks with European leaders and envoys of US President Donald Trump as diplomatic efforts intensify to end the nearly 4-year war with Russia. Zelensky was welcomed by German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who is also hosting leaders from Britain, NATO and the European Union. US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are expected to join discussions alongside Ukraine's top negotiators. Zelensky says he is open to dialogue, urging a ceasefire that freezes current front lines amid continued fighting and cautious signals from Moscow. Thailand has imposed a curfew in its southeastern Trat province as fighting with neighboring Cambodia spreads to coastal areas along a disputed border. The clashes come just 2 days after US President Donald Trump said both sides had agreed to stop fighting. However, Thailand's foreign ministry says hostilities have continued despite Cambodia reiterating its openness to a ceasefire. Thai forces claim they destroyed a bridge used by Cambodia to transport heavy weapons and targeted artillery positions in Cambodia's Koh Kong province. Both sides accuse each other of starting the fighting and of attacking civilians as tensions remain high along the border. Nepal's Chandrabahadur Thapa has made history, winning a bronze medal in the 54-kilogram category at the IBA Men's World Boxing Championship 2025. Thapa returned home to a warm reception in Kathmandu after the Dubai tournament, where he defeated boxers from Indonesia, Armenia and Iran.
पाइरहेको छु र अझै पनि माथिल्लो स्तरमा सम्म पुग्ने छु भन्ने म आशा बोकेको छु र हजुरहरूले पनि यसमा मलाई धेरै धेरै साथ दिनुहुन्छ भन्ने मैले आशा बोकेको छु। राष्ट्रलाई चिनाउँदा नेपाललाई रिप्रेजेन्टेट गर्नुपर्दा चिनाउँदा पाउँदाखेरि धेरै गर्व महसुस गरेको छु।
Thapa also earned $75,000 in prize money, marking a major milestone for Nepali boxing ahead of the Asian Games and Olympic qualifiers. As the CPN-UML's 11th National Convention continues, the party has decided to revert to its previous 301-member Central Committee despite opposition from senior leaders. We will be looking further into this issue in our Issue of the Day segment later in the bulletin. Welcome back. We head straight forward with the issue of the day. Now, Nepal's main opposition party, the CPN-UML, has decided to revert to its previous party committee structure. A meeting held ahead of the closed-door session of the party's 11th National Convention resolved to retain a 301-member Central Committee as adopted during the 10th General Convention. Party Chair KP Sharma Oli briefed the meeting on the decision. Despite objections from senior leaders, including Vice Chair Ishwar Bokrail, the majority voted to maintain the earlier structure. Meanwhile, the closed-door session of the CPN-UML's 11th National Convention will be on the way. The leaders of the CPN-UML have put forth the amendment proposal today. When asked about the same, Here's what they had to say.
नै थपेर पार्टीभित्रका समस्याहरू वा अन्तर्विरोधहरू केही फरक चिजहरू छन् भने त्यसको अन्त्य हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा होइन। एउटा जीवन्त पार्टीमा त्यो भइ नै रहन्छ। तर अन्तहीन विवाद र टेक्निकल इस्युलाई नोट अफ डिसेन्ट लेखेर हिँड्ने कुरा त उपयुक्त पनि भएन।
महाधिवेशन पश्चात अहिले राष्ट्रिय महाधिवेशनले संशोधन नगर्ने त विषय नै होइन। यो हाम्रो नजिक पनि छ। चितवन महाधिवेशनमा पनि हामीले यसरी नै संशोधन गरेको हो होइन। राष्ट्रिय महाधिवेशन नै सर्वोच्च निकाय हो। त्यसैले विधान महाधिवेशनले गरेको निर्णयलाई यसले संशोधन गर्न सक्छ। त्यो अधिकार अहिलेको राष्ट्रिय महाधिवेशनलाई छ।
301 केन्द्रीय कमिटीको प्रस्ताव चाहिँ महाधिवेशनमा जाँदैछ। त्यसको ठिक 1/3 99 देखि 101 सम्मको पोलिट ब्युरो र त्यसको ठिक 1/3 99 हुँदाखेरि 30 देखि 33 को स्थायी समिति रहने गरी हाम्रो प्रस्ताव केन्द्रीय कमिटीले पारित गरेर महाधिवेशनको हलमा जाँदैछ।
As the 11th UML Congress enters its closed-door session, nearly 400 delegates under 40 are making their presence felt. But questions remain about their influence. Despite youth quotas and a central committee expansion, many argue real power remains with senior leaders. Will the Congress bring true generational change or fall short of expectations? Virat Anupam explores further.
CPNUML has amended its statute today to reserve 5% quota for its youth representative in its central committee. But for many within the party and outside it, this decision falls far short of the long-held aspiration for a genuine generational shift in Nepal's mainstream politics. As the 11th National Congress of the Communist Party of Nepal, unified Marxist-Leninist, enters its closed-door session, youth delegates are present in noticeable numbers, yet their share of real power remains sharply limited. Of the 2,262 delegates at the Congress, party insiders estimate that around 400 are below the age of 40, reflecting a growing youth base in a party traditionally led by senior figures. To accommodate younger members, UML allotted one youth quota seat in each federal parliamentary constituency, totaling 165 youth delegates. Beyond these quotas, some young leaders were elected or selected unopposed in other categories. Still, critics argue that representation at the Congress floor does not automatically translate into influence in the party's top decision-making structures.
This is one of those rarest times where 165 young delegates are elected and they're participating in the 11th National Congress. So my expectation is more young people will join the Central Committee this time, and it'll be an opportunity for Nepal and a political party like CPN-UML to actually have young leaders in the Central Committee, and they'll be diverse, they'll be inclusive, they'll be transformative, and I'm really very much excited about it. I'll contest for the Central Committee, and it'll be my honor to participate in the election and serve the Central Committee.
As leadership negotiations intensify, a handful of youth leaders are contesting seats in the proposed 301-member Central Committee. Many others, however, say the debate is not about individual candidates but about whether the party is willing to meaningfully share authority with its younger generation.
As a youth, we are looking for the leadership continuation also, me personally. So it will be a kind of mixed. That is, we will be looking for a very strong and continuation of the current leadership also. Similarly, looking for some participation of youths in the Central Committee.
Despite the expansion of the Central Committee from 251 to 301 members, leaders under 40 are widely seen as being sidelined from the powerful 19-member office bearers panel. The leadership race is largely shaped by internal factional dynamics between the establishment camp led by Chairperson and former Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli and the faction led by Senior Vice Chairperson and former Deputy Prime Minister Ishwar Pokhrel, leaving limited space for younger faces at the very top. CPN-UML is Nepal's largest communist party with more than 600,000 members and emerged as the second largest political force in the federal elections. With such a vast membership base, observers say expectations for leadership renewal were high. As the Congress moves towards its decisive phase, the question grows sharper. At a time when the party and the public were expecting generational change, does a 5% quota represent reform or a missed opportunity to renew UML's leadership for the future. CP-UML is the first Nepal's mainstream political party to have its Congress after the Gen Z movement of September 8 and September 9. That is the reason youth delegates are very excited to make their presence in this historic 11th Congress of the party. With camera person Samir Thapa, Virat Anupam reporting for Public Service Broadcasting, NTV World, Kathmandu.
More than 70 leaders have emerged as aspirants for top positions at the CP-UML's ongoing 11th National Convention, making internal power sharing a growing challenge for the party leadership. Ahead of the closed-door session, the party's final Central Committee meeting endorsed a proposal to expand the number of office bearers from 15 to 19. Despite the increase, competition remains intense, particularly for the posts of Vice Chair, Deputy General Secretary and Secretary. Under the new structure, the party will elect 1 chair, vice chairs, 1 general secretary, 3 deputy general secretaries and 9 secretaries. While formal nominations are yet to be filed, a contest for the chair is expected between incumbent KP Sharma Oli and senior vice chair Ishwar Pokhrel. The party says it will make last-minute efforts to reach consensus, though current indications suggest a competitive race. Our correspondent Virat Anupam asked the young UML cadres in the party's general convention underway in Salagari, what do youths in this convention want? Let's have a look at what they had to say in our Public Pulse tonight.
हामीमा पनि अलिकति ऊर्जा थपिएको छ कि हाम्रो राजनीतिको अस्तित्व हिँड्दै गर्दाखेरि कुर्नु पर्दैन, त्यो बाटो पनि छ, त्यो विकल्प पनि छ, त्यसबाट पनि जान मिल्छ, त्यसबाट पनि अझ हामी माथिल्लो कमिटीमा बस्नु मिल्छ भन्ने छ। अब त्यसको विषयमा चाहिँ 5% अथवा कति हुन्छ अब युवाहरूको क्लस्टरबाट छुट्टिने चाहिँ जसले चाहिँ त्यसबाट कमिटीबाट प्रतिनिधित्व गरेर आउनुको मान्छेहरूले अब कमिटीहरूले त्यसमा आफ्नो मनोनयन दर्ता गरेर अब हाम्रो यो विधान महाधिवेशन हुने चुनाव अथवा सर्वसम्मति हुन्छ त्यसबाट उहाँहरूले एउटा स्पेस पाउनुपर्छ।
महाधिवेशनमा केन्द्रीय कमिटीमा मात्र होइन युवाहरूको प्रतिनिधित्व पदाधिकारी भित्र पनि हुनुपर्छ भन्ने आवाज मैले उठाइरहेको छु।
प्रत्येक भूगोलबाट प्रत्येक प्रदेशबाट हैन युवाहरूको चाहना र एउटा पदाधिकारीमा भए झन् राम्रो हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा हैन हामीले विश्वास लिएको छु।
वास्तवमा यो हाम्रो महाधिवेशनले युवालाई चाहिँ नेतृत्वमा म्याक्सिमम लिएर जान्छ भन्ने कुरामा विश्वस्त छौँ।
अब नेकपा एमालेमा चाहिँ अहिले युवाहरूको प्रतिनिधित्व यो महाधिवेशनमा एकदमै राम्रो छ। त्यो भएको कारणले गर्दा जति 40 वर्ष मुनिको प्रतिनिधिहरू आउनु भएको छ उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ नेतृत्व चुन्न मात्र होइन कि आफू चुनिने अधिकार पनि पार्टीले दियोस् भन्ने हाम्रो अपेक्षा रहेको छ र हामीलाई आशा छ कि पार्टीले त्यो अनुसारको युवाहरूको प्रतिनिधित्वलाई सुनिश्चित गर्ने गरी नै सेन्ट्रल कमिटीको केन्द्रीय कमिटीको निर्माण गर्छ भन्नेमा हामीलाई विश्वास छ।
युवाले अबको यो अलिक विषम परिस्थितिमा यो जेनजी आन्दोलन पश्चात युवाको उपस्थिति अर्थपूर्ण सहभागिता अर्थपूर्ण हुनुपर्छ भन्ने एउटा सन्देश दिएको छ। त्यसमा पनि नेकपा एमालेले अब युवाको उपस्थिति आदरणीय हुनुपर्छ भन्ने युवा समाजले त्यो कुराहरू उठाइ नै रहेको छ।
For the first time in 24 years, Nepal observed Parliament Service Day without an elected parliament, highlighting the resilience of its parliamentary institutions amidst a political void. We delve into the challenges faced by the country's legislature and the ongoing struggle to uphold democratic procedures in our cover story of the day. You are with News Hour and this is NTV World. Moving on to our cover story segment, Speaker of the House Devraj Khemere has accused the government of indirect interference in the federal parliament. Addressing a program marking the 19th anniversary of the Parliament Secretariat, the Speaker also expressed dissatisfaction over reductions in benefits, facilities and sanctioned posts for parliamentary employees. Speaking at the same event, National Assembly Chair Narayan Prasad Dahal stressed the need for serious commitment from all sides to end corruption, saying the government formed after the Gen Z movement has yet to deliver concrete results in curbing corruption. Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs Minister Anil Kumar Sinha said the government remains committed to strengthening Parliament, describing the legislature and executive as complementary institutions. Meanwhile, Deputy Speaker Indira Rana Magar and National Assembly Vice Chair Bimala Ghimire highlighted the need for lawmaking that respects history, warning that legislative work has stalled following the dissolution of the House. The event also honored winners of various competitions and outstanding Parliament service employees. For the first time in 24 years, Nepal observed Parliament Service Day without an elected parliament or government. The day highlights the resilience of parliamentary institutions at a time when democracy itself faces an institutional void. Subeksha Rajak brings you more.
For the first time in 24 years, Nepal is celebrating Parliament Service Day without an elected parliament or government. Since 2001, parliamentary service was recognized as a distinct entity from civil service, and coincidentally, this is the first time the country does not have an elected parliament in these 24 years. Employees of Federal Parliament under the Ministry of Federal Affairs and General Administration marked this day, calling it a specialized, autonomous and professional institution dedicated to strengthening the dignity and effectiveness of parliamentary practice. Unlike the civil service, the parliamentary service operates under its own act, providing a framework tailored to the unique demands of legislative work. Coincidentally, the country is not only without elected federal parliament, but also without proper parliament building. The Baneshwar-based federal parliament building, after being destroyed during the September 8 Gen Z movement, will take years to be renovated. The new federal parliament building inside administrative headquarters Singhdarbar has been under construction for a decade now. And unlike to be able to the House of the elected representatives if the country holds elections on March 5. Though the upper house, the National Assembly, is still alive, its meeting is yet to convene as there is no place for meeting. It has been learned that the parliament building used during Panchayat era is being prepared for the sitting of the upper house. Government is yet to recommend the president to summon the meeting of the National Assembly through the upper house chair is learned to have requested for the meeting. This day also reminds us of the turbulent years when the Gen Z revolution shook the foundations of our political system. In those times of upheaval, parliamentary buildings were damaged, symbols of democracy stood scared, and the very infrastructure of governance seemed fragile. 24 years have passed since the establishment of the parliamentary service through a dedicated act. Since then, it has been celebrated as a symbol of professionalism and autonomy. Though small, the service is not only an administrative body, it is the guardian of parliamentary continuity, a stabilizing force in times when political transitions leave gaps in governance. As citizens, we are reminded that democracy is not only about elections, it is also about institutions that uphold the Constitution, safeguard the legislative process, and ensure that the voice of the people is represented. The Federal Parliament Service embodies this principle, standing firm in its mission to support the Parliament regardless of political circumstances.
As Nepal marks Parliament Service Day without a functioning parliament, questions about institutional health and reform have come into sharp focus. Also, the concerns on institutional reforms are rife. Earlier, I spoke to former MP Sumana Shrestha, who has consistently advocated institutional reform, to understand what needs to change. Let's have a look at the key highlights of the conversation we had earlier in the evening. What does this moment say about the health of Nepal's parliamentary democracy?
Well, first of all, I'd like to wish everybody who is in parliamentary services sector, thank you for all the services that you've provided, and thank you for the dedication towards supporting the parliamentarians come up with the bills and draft the bills and deliberate on the bills. However, there are a lot of reforms that are required, and the parliamentary processes would also play a very significant role in promoting good governance. And the institution that we have, the lower house and the upper house, they need quite a bit of systematic reform to build it as a strong institution.
You have repeatedly raised issues about parliamentary infrastructure and procedures from inside the House when you were serving as an MP, right? From your direct experience, Ms. Resta, what are the most serious institutional shortcomings that prevent Parliament from functioning effectively here in Nepal?
I would say there are 3 to 4 key reforms that we need to make in the way we practice parliamentary democracy in the country. The first one is citizens' awareness and awareness within the parliamentarians as what is the role of parliament versus what is the role of executive, what is the role of province, and what is the role of local level. Oftentimes during election process, everybody promises the same thing, which then raises the expectations amongst people that every tier of government does the same job, right? That creates very undue influence or pressure on the parliamentarians to go around asking for budget. That's the first level of, the first fundamental thing is awareness that I think will then impact the procedures. The second is lack of clear direction in which the government is going to go forward or the key issues that the parliament needs to fix, which then reflects in the need and a clear layout of parliamentary calendar, for instance, that would basically set tone for the direction, the 5 years the parliament is going to take. And most importantly, the third point is the budget for parliament is also determined by the executive, which is how the parliamentary process is not truly independent of executive that is supposed to guide and put check and balance. For example, when you think about the research support that parliamentarians are offered to draft their own bills or to get the institutional knowledge behind certain problem statement that the bills are trying to address, that is very lacking. Though the current parliament does have a research wing, it is not as effective. There have been oftentimes I've reached out for support and that has been very lacking. Second is when you talk about parliamentary committees, the budget for the committee I was part of, the education parliamentary committee that oversaw 4 ministries, the budget for the year round was around just 1,81,000, some absurd tiny number that would prevent parliamentarians from having broader consultation with the experts, with the stakeholders, that would then ensure that their concerns are incorporated and we're actually solving the right problem.
On to the rest of the updates now. Prime Minister Sushila Karki emphasized the state's responsibility to protect and promote inclusion, social justice and cultural linguistic diversity as outlined in the Constitution. Speaking at the 26th Board of Directors meeting of the National Foundation for the Upliftment of Indigenous Peoples, the Prime Minister stressed the importance of implementing constitutional provisions to safeguard the cultural rights of indigenous communities. The Prime Minister reaffirmed the government's commitment to fostering inclusive development through collaboration with development partners, civil society, local governments and communities. Reflecting on the demands raised by the Gen Z movement, the Prime Minister highlighted the call for good governance and social justice as vital for sustainable national development. Resham Gurung, the Vice President of the Foundation, noted that the organization is advancing research to develop indigenous knowledge, skills and political rights, with the Prime Minister serving as the chairman of the board. Minister for Fiscal Infrastructure and Transport Kulman Ghising has instructed contractors to expedite construction of the Mugling Pokhara Road project. While inspecting the western section from Jamuni to Pokhara today, the minister directed construction companies to complete the work within the stipulated time and pledged government support to resolve existing problems. According to officials, the western section has achieved nearly 60% physical progress and about 48% financial progress. of the 48.8-kilometer stretch. First layer blacktopping has been completed on 37.4 kilometers. The project, contracted in May 2021 at a cost of 7,040 crore rupees, aims to be completed by mid-January. Access to medical treatment has become significantly easier for rural residents after the federal government launched upgrades and service expansion at health facilities in rural areas of Nepal's central Dhading. Locals say the initiative has not only reduced the need to travel to capital city Kathmandu for basic treatment, but has also eased the financial burden. Rojina Rai, with our local correspondent Shiva Silwal, explains the provision.
Recent WHO report 2024-25 shows that elderly people in remote areas of Nepal face significant health challenges. Over 85% of the senior citizens live in rural areas that often lack general health care access. As Nepal's rural villages increasingly becoming home to elderly citizens due to widespread youth migration, access to nearby health care is becoming a critical concern. In northern Dhading, the expansion of services at rural health centers has begun to ease this long-standing challenge, particularly for senior citizens who often struggle to travel long distances. The number of elderly visiting the local rural health post has risen following the introduction of additional health services under the coordination of federal local government. Senior citizens and their families say the accessibility of treatment closer to home has made healthcare more accessible, affordable, and timely.
साधारण भन्दा साधारण रोगले पनि च्याप्दाखेरि पहिला भनौँ न यो ग्रामीण अस्पताल नहुँदाखेरि या त धादिङ बेसी या त्रिशुली या त काठमाडौँ गएर उपचार गर्नु पर्थ्यो.
For years, elderly residents of remote villages were compelled to travel to Kathmandu or Dhading district headquarters, even for basic medical care, a journey that was physically demanding, costly, and often risky for older patients. To address the specific needs of elderly people, Khaniavas Rural Municipality in Dhading has ensured 24-hour doctor accessibility at the Rural Health Center. Besides regular health checkups, the local government has also arranged free ambulance services across the municipality and provision for free essential medicines. The facility is easing access for elderly residents who have limited mobility and income. In addition, periodic health camps with specialist doctors are organized, with a particular focus on age-related issues such as eye problem, chronic disease, and general health screenings. The upgraded health center is also providing services to people from neighboring Nuwako district.
We will be looking into the headliners in the international front, but before that, a quick recap of the headliners of the day. Youth presence grows at UMO Congress, but 5% Central Committee quota proposal raises question. Nepal marks Parliament Service Day for the first time in 25 years without an elected parliament or government. At least 12 killed in targeted mass shooting at Bondi Beach in Australia. Authorities label attack as anti-Semitic terrorism. The Ukrainian president arrives Berlin for high-stakes talks with European leaders and Trump envoys on Ukraine war. Thailand imposes curfew as fighting with Cambodia escalates despite ceasefire plea from the US. And Chandrabahadur Thapa makes history with bronze at IBA Men's World Boxing Championship, given a warm welcome on his return home today. A quick quick run through our international headliners of the day. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Berlin for crucial talks with European leaders and representatives of the US President Donald Trump as fresh diplomatic efforts get underway to bring an end to Russia's war on Ukraine, now nearing its fourth year. Zelensky was received by German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who is hosting a high-level gathering that includes Britain's Prime Minister, the heads of NATO and the European Union, as well as senior US envoys. Talks are expected to focus on possible pathways to a ceasefire, with Zelensky reiterating Ukraine's readiness for dialogue while rejecting Moscow's demand that Kyiv code the entire Donbas region. As fighting continues on the ground, the Berlin meeting underscores growing international pressure on Ukraine to negotiate, even as uncertainty remains over Russia's response. New South Wales police say that 12 people were killed in a shooting at Bondi Beach targeting the Jewish community. A further 29 people have been taken to hospital, including a child. An event was being held at the beach to mark the start of Hanukkah, had more than 1,000 people in attendance. A rescue bomb disposal unit was also deployed after police found a vehicle which they believed had several improvised explosive devices. Mass shootings are rare in Australia, and that makes the incident more shocking. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns says one gunman had also been killed and a second suspect is in critical condition. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese described the attack as an attack on evil anti-Semitism, terrorism that has struck the heart of the nation. Meanwhile, a manhunt is underway after 2 students were killed and 9 others injured in a mass shooting at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island of the United States. The gunman opened fire in a classroom in a building where exams were taking place. The university, one of the oldest and most prestigious in the United States, was placed into lockdown as police searched for the gunman, who remains at large. Students in parts of the campus are continuing to be told to shelter in place until police can escort them out of the area. Officials from Rhode Island Hospital said most of the injured were in critical but stable condition. Thailand has announced a curfew in its southeastern Trat province as fighting with Cambodia spread to coastal areas of a disputed border region. 2 days after US President and would-be peacemaker Donald Trump said the sides had agreed to stop. The Southeast Asian neighbors have resorted to arms several times this year since a Cambodian soldier was killed in a May skirmish, reigniting a conflict that has displaced hundreds of thousands of people. Moving further in the international front, Israel has said it killed the head of weapons production in Hamas's military in Gaza after an explosive device detonated and wounded 2 soldiers in the territory's south. The Israeli military described Saad as one of the architects of the October 7, 2023 attack on Israel that sparked the war in Gaza. The military earlier on Saturday said 2 reserve soldiers were lightly injured after the device detonated during an operation to clear the area in southern Gaza. It said in a statement that a civilian vehicle had been struck outside Gaza City and asserted it was a violation of the ceasefire that took effect on October 10. Authorities in Pakistan's capital have stepped up efforts to curb worsening air pollution by setting up vehicle emission checkpoints across Islamabad as the city battles dangerously high smog levels. The measures are part of an intensified campaign to reduce emissions from traffic, one of the main contributors to poor air quality during the winter months. Officials say vehicles found to be emitting excessive pollutants will be barred from entering the city. In the first week of the initiative, authorities issued more than 300 fines at the checkpoints and impounded 80 other vehicles. Updates from the business front when we come back after this short break.
The price of gold in the Nepali market has reached its highest level ever on Sunday, December 14. Today's price has broken the record set 2 months ago. The Federation of Nepal Gold and Silver Dealers Association has fixed the price of gold at 2,58,800 Nepali rupees per tola for today. Previously, on October 17, the highest price of gold was recorded at 2,58,000 Nepali rupees per tola. Compared to last Friday, the price of gold has increased by 2,200 Nepali rupees today. On Friday, gold was traded at 2,56,600 Nepali rupees per tola. In the international market, however, the record set on October 20 has not yet been broken. On that day, gold reached $4,356 per ounce. But today, international media report that gold is trading at around $4,300 per ounce in the global market. SpaceX is preparing to go public next year and has opened a secondary share sale that would value the company at $800 billion. The Elon Musk-led company's move towards a public listing, which could rank among the largest global initial public offerings, has been largely driven by the rapid expansion of SpaceX's Starlink satellite internet business, including plans for direct-to-mobile service and progress in a Starship rocket program for missions to the Moon and Mars. It is learned that SpaceX has approved an arrangement where new and existing investors and the company will buy up to $2.56 billion of shares from eligible shareholders at $421 a share. SpaceX aims to use the capital to ramp Starship's flight rate, deploy artificial intelligence data centers in space, build Moonbase Alpha, and send uncrewed and crewed missions to Mars. Investors have welcomed reports that SpaceX was mulling a potential IPO that would fund Musk's Mars ambitions and value the rocket and satellite company at more than $1 trillion. SpaceX ranks as the world's second most valuable private startup after ChatGPT maker OpenAI, according to data from Crunchbase. The European Union has indefinitely frozen hundreds of billions of Russian funds held in Europe to help Ukraine defend itself against Moscow. The bloc's governments agreed on Friday to immobilize 210 billion euros worth of Russian sovereign assets for as long as needed, thus removing the need to vote every 6 months on extending the asset freeze.
After considering several options, we are now focused on designing a reparation loan to Ukraine based on Russian immobilized assets. Work is now ongoing to define a solution that can bring every member state on board, or at least that gathers that broadest possible support.
The vast majority of the 210 billion euros in Russian assets are held in Euroclear, a Belgian financial clearing house. The assets were frozen as a result of EU sanctions on Moscow over its war on Ukraine.
On to sports now. The departmental team APF club secured its third victory in the SAF Women's Club Championship, defeating Pakistan's Karachi City FC 1-0 at the Dasrat Stadium in Tripureshwar today. Rashmi Kumari Ghising scored the only goal of the match in the 52nd minute, assisted by Renuka Nagarkoti. With this win, APF has earned 7 points from 3 matches following their 4-0 win over Bangladesh's Nasreen Sports Academy and a goalless draw with Bhutan's Transport United FC. APF will next face India's East Bengal on December 17. Nepal's Chandrabahadur Thapa has created history by winning a bronze medal in the 54-kilogram category at the IBA Men's World Boxing Championship 2025. Today marks his heroic homecoming. April Agising has further details on this.
Nepal's boxing history has reached a landmark moment as Chandrabahadur Thapa clinched a bronze medal in the 54 kg weight category at the IBA Men's World Boxing Championship 2025, marking the country's first ever medal at this prestigious global event. The championship, held from December 3rd to 14 in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, featured the world's elite boxers. Thapa delivered a series of commanding performances, defeating experienced opponents from Indonesia and Armenia, before overcoming an Iranian boxer in the quarterfinals to secure Nepal's historic bronze medal. Although Thapa was defeated in the semi-finals by Sakin Bibosnov, the eventual gold medalist, his achievement has been hailed as a milestone for Nepali boxing and a breakthrough moment for the nation's presence on the global sporting stage. In recognition of his success, Thapa received prize money of $75,000, underscoring the significance of his accomplishment at the world level.
धेरै धन्यवाद हजुरहरूले गर्दा नै म यहाँसम्म आइपुग्यो हो आइपुगेको छु र नेपाललाई रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्न पाइरहेको छु र अझै पनि माथिल्लो स्तरमा सम्म पुग्ने छु भन्ने म आशा बोकेको छु र हजुरहरूले पनि यसमा मलाई धेरै धेरै साथ दिनुहुन्छ भन्ने मैले आशा बोकेको छु र राष्ट्रलाई चिनाउँदा नेपाललाई रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्नुपर्दा चिनाउँदा पाउँदाखेरि धेरै गर्व महसुस गरेको छु.
Upon his return to Kathmandu, Thapa and the national boxing team were given a grand welcome at Tribhuvan International Airport on Sunday. The reception was led by Minister for Youth and Sports Bablu Gupta, along with National Sports Council Member Secretary Ram Charitra Mehta, Executive Committee Member Kamal Bahadur Bhattrai, senior officials from the Nepal Police and representatives of the Nepal Boxing Federation, National Sports Associations, fellow athletes and coaches. Officials from the Nepal Boxing Federation described Thapa's performance as a strong foundation for Nepal's preparations for the 2026 Asian Games and future Olympic qualification events. Chandrabahadur Thapa's bronze medal is more than a personal triumph. It is a symbol of Nepal's rising ambition in international boxing and an inspiration for a new generation of athletes dreaming of global success. For Nepal, the gloves are off and the world is now paying attention.
And other weather updates. First, we look at the details from across Nepal and then the world. And before we wind up, let us recap the headlines one more time. Youth presence grows at UMO Congress, but 5% Central Committee quota proposal raises questions. Nepal marks Parliament Service Day for the first time in 24 years without an elected parliament or government. At least 12 killed in targeted mass shooting at Bondi Beach, Australia. Authorities label attack as anti-Semitic terrorism. The Ukrainian president arrives Berlin for high-stakes talks with European leaders and Trump envoys on Ukraine war. Thailand imposes curfew as fighting with Cambodia escalates despite ceasefire plea from the US. And Chandrabahadur Thapa makes history with bronze at IBM Men's World Boxing Championship, given a heroic welcome at home today. And that's it from NewsHour here at NTV World tonight. Do stay tuned for more news and updates. You can join us or get connected to us through our social handles. Do not forget to log into NTV or nepaltelevision.com. That's our official website. Until next time, from the entire news crew, goodbye and namaste.